gonna lie, but
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's tough. But I usually like I could see even I could see a kid who's acting up because you can tell something's going on. You go over there and talk to them or whatever, and they're like, they tell you they've been bullied or something's going on at home. So I pay attention to that too. Like you gotta watch, especially with kids. Like with adults, you're like you don't have to deal with them really, but with kids, I think it's a good thing to watch, pay attention to them
It
because they
needs to
need
be
it.
it needs to be addressed. I mean, if you let a kid get away with a lie, first of all, if you're lying to a kid, you deserve. I'm not going to tell you what you deserve. You already know what you deserve. To lie to lie to a child that is who is going to believe you what you say. No matter you could. I
Hmm.
mean, we're not going to get into beliefism because we're going to go with that. But when you start lying to children, knowing that they don't have the cognitive abilities to discern if you're lying, they're just going to believe you, right?
Yeah, people lie to kids all the time. I
All the
hate when
time, all the time,
I
and then
never did.
if you got to think about the cycle here. So this is it's so malicious, evil, and just disgusting to me. You lie to a kid, all right, their whole for the most of their adolescent life, and then you reveal the lie to them. I was lying. It was just because I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Santa Claus wasn't real, but you look so cute. You love
No,
presents,
never did any
and
of that crap.
right. And then what happens is you lie about Santa Claus, and then when you tell them it was a lie, you don't even tell them it's like well, it's just something we just say, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
so it's okay to lie to children. Ultimately, it's a lie, and we all
yeah.
did it. Okay, all did. I mean, I went through that too with my daughters.
No,
It
I did
wasn't.
not.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
I just it
intentional.
was it wasn't until how it affected my youngest, where
Ah, the
I was like,
betrayal, right?
yes, oh my god, the betrayal.
Yeah.
And then at that point, that was one of the pivoting moments for me. I was like, okay, what the heck's going on in the world? But to lie to a child, because I was taught to lie because my
Hmm.
parents my mom lied to me about Santa Claus, right? My aunts and
Hmm.
uncles and all that. So then I then pass that lie on to my kid. And then when they
Right.
get to an age early enough to where they're figuring it out because their friends are telling them, man, ain't Santa Claus ain't real. And then you go, well, it was because I love you. That's such a mind
Yeah.
blast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then they grow up going, well, I guess it's okay to lie to kids. And
Yeah.
then and then so goes on the
Or other
cycle.
loved ones.
Yeah, or the loved ones. And that's just Santa Claus. Then you lie about this, and then you lie about that,
Yeah.
and then you can believe in things that you shouldn't believe in. We're not gonna talk
Yeah.
about that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, but we're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
going there
We're not going there. We're not because we
or
never went
there.
there. We never went there. Is what I'm saying. Go
Oh
ahead.
boy. But no, that is tough, and I've always told my boys like I don't lie to you, I don't lie to you, and it's crazy because for a little while, they would try to catch me in lies, and I'm like, what do you want your mother to be a liar for? Like what? That's not a flex. Like what are you doing?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they always were trying to do that, and I'm like, look, if there's something I don't want you to know, I'll just tell you I don't want to talk about it, especially because you're a child. I used to always be like, this is an adult conversation. We're talking about grown up stuff, whatever it is,
Yeah.
because I never played those games where I'm going to go bash a bunch of adults to my kids or in front of my kids. Like, no,
Yeah. No, you're doing the right
I'm
thing by
my
doing
kids'
that.
friends. They're not my friends. Like, there's a
That's
big
right.
difference.
That's right. Yeah.
And you have to be clear about those things. I'm very clear about my intentions. Deanna wanted to do the Superman, and we got into an argument about it. Not the Superman, I'm sorry. That was looking at myself. He
Mhm.
wanted to do the Santa thing
Oh
and
yeah.
the tooth fairy, and I was like, no, I'm not lying to them, I don't care, but I did make it a point to say don't tell anybody else, but your presence, because I said Santa Claus is real. He was a man that was
Oh,
Saint
it's
Nicholas,
Saint
blah
Nick.
blah
Yeah.
blah, told him
Right.
the truth.
That's
And
what. Yeah.
now this
I do
Santa
something. Yeah.
Claus is a cartoon and blah blah blah, and he's not real,
So we
but
can
he
agree
doesn't
on
come to the house.
cartoons then, right? We can agree that most things are cartoons. Okay, good.
No, no,
Got that one out of the
no.
way. No, but you're right.
But
You're
yeah, you
right.
can't you
But
can't do
you're
that.
right
You got to be
about.
careful.
But that's great that you did that. You didn't say no. It's all a lie. You said no, no. Look, because if there's a lie out there, there's always some truth in a lie.
Yes,
Otherwise,
exactly.
and that's what it's the little bit of truth in a lie that sticks to a man's mind and heart and to his soul.
Yep.
Because if there was no truth in it, it would just fall off of him. Okay, so deception is very deceiving. Play on words there, but so that's why there's always a little bit of truth in lies. And
Hmm.
so it's great that you said, let me tell you what the truth is. There was a man
Yeah.
named St. Nicholas. He didn't, he went around and, from what we've told from history, he went around to orphanages and gave toys to kids and food or whatever, helped the
Right.
homeless. And then they took what he did, that good deed that he did, and they commercialized it. And now you got a
Hmm.
guy flying in flying in and on his way to the moon. I'm
He's this
sorry.
all knowing, all
Yeah. Yeah.
seeing
Yeah. 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 Please. Yeah. All knowing, all seeing.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
it's
Come on.
pretty weird. I told them that, and I also didn't want them to be ungrateful little brats. Like, this rando guy is not flying in here bringing you presents. We're buying you presents and then wrapping them and then giving them to you and thinking about what you want and all that kind of stuff. So they were grateful, and I used to excuse me, like my mom, she moved away. A bunch of my family have moved away, and I would say, "Do you want more presents this year, or do you want to go see Abby or whoever it was?" Like, and they would pick to go visit somebody because, it costs money to get down wherever you go and
Mhm.
travel. And we would do that. And they never were like, these kids wanted so much and all this stuff. And I was grateful for that because then it helped us to get to go see more family and stuff like that. But it just was building their character. And that's a big thing. So, with that,
It
let's
is.
go a
It
little
is.
bit of comments because there's
All
people
right.
have been talking. I
Crap.
think I saw, look at this guy, Crypto Pride. I had the
It's
best interview, even though I was on CP time. You know what CP time is,
yeah.
right?
Color people time. Yeah. Color people time.
Yeah. My friend makes fun of me so
It's
much.
actually CPT time, bro. Color people time. One of my the best. He's one of my best friends. He was the best man at my wedding.
Hmm.
My recent wedding, my second wedding, right? He's Hispanic. He's married to a black woman. I've known him for damn near 30 years.
Hmm.
He he thinks because he's married to a black woman, he can say, he can do all the black jokes and everything. It's so funny, man. It's so
Oh,
funny. He's like,
well,
he's
what
that,
kind of Hispanic is he?
uh, he's, he's, he's Mexican, but it's just,
Oh,
he, he, um, he doesn't speak Spanish. His parents do. If you knew his last name, it doesn't have a Hispanic last name at all. Okay.
right.
NR knows him, right? So, um, but the funny thing is he's hilarious. I can't
Yeah.
wait. He's getting into crypto. Hopefully he'll be joining us soon, in some of our lives. But
Okay.
he's hilarious as well. But yeah, he's just like Pride, CPT time and whatever. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Everybody knows. I learned that from him. That's pretty funny though.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, my mom always used to say it, but my friend, she's Peruvian, and oh my
Mm.
gosh, if their party is at 2 o'clock, then expect everybody to show up at 4. And I'm there at 1:45.
Yeah, I'm that guy
And
too.
she's
I'm
like,
I'm always the guy early.
yeah, she was
Yeah.
like, "You're always early." She was like, "You know how my family is, blah, 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 blah." And she's like, everybody, because she says Spanish people time, which I don't know anybody who says that. And I'm like, no, everybody
Yeah,
knows it's
it's
colored people time.
color people time. Yeah,
Yeah, because
CPT.
everybody,
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's
but
CPT. Yeah,
the white people always on time, and me
yeah,
apparently. So,
yeah.
but I hate being late because my mom was always late, and I hated it. So I'm never late. Dano's either early or late. He's never on time or a little bit. He'll either be very early for no reason, sitting in the parking lot, or he's late.
Always
And
like super late, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, maybe not
Oh no.
super, but
Well, I mean, maybe
yeah,
late. Like,
it
yeah.
kills me. When he
I.
goes on, I hate it. I'm like, what are you doing? It's time. Like, I'm in the
Yeah,
back. I'm
I
like trying to
hate
crack the
being
whip.
late. That is a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
if I tell someone I'm going to be there at 5 o'clock, if I'm not, for those of you that I let down, just understand this. You're gonna understand why that happens. It's not that my intentions are to be on time, but I've got so many moving parts. So
Mm.
I'm answering to probably 100 emails an hour, right? And I'm having to multitask. And unfortunately, in my world, if I take one call, what's that? Oh,
Yeah, it's the whole costume. I had to get into
oh
costume.
yeah, that's freaking
Go
awesome.
ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. So it's just if I'm late, trust me, it was not on purpose. I took a call I shouldn't have taken, and it threw me
Mm.
off 5 minutes. 5 minutes to me is like an hour to someone else. I work in 15-minute increments. So if I've
Oh,
got an
okay.
appointment with somebody, I'm giving you 15 minutes of my day. So it has to be quality. It has to be substantive. If we can't come to an agreement, a resolution, or a plan of some sort in 15 minutes, then we're wasting our time. Because don't
Okay.
bring me problems, bring me solutions. Right.
Oh
And
my
that's
gosh.
right. So
I
that
tell my sons that.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to hear about what kind of why you had you had a horrible day. I want to hear you had a horrible day and what you learned from it.
Hmm.
That to me is because I think and I think I've gotten worse with that because of the older I've gotten. The older I've gotten, I've realized that man, time is the one thing, it's funny because people, everybody wants to be rich and have all this money, or at
Yeah.
least not, maybe not be rich because it's subjective. Rich to me could be different, rich to someone else, or to
Yeah.
me, well, I think wealthy is the proper word. But the one thing that wealth is subjective. It depends on where you are in your life, how old you
Hmm.
are. Someone owning a Ferrari, oh, I'm wealthy, or someone owning just having their house paid off, that's considered wealth. It depends on
Right.
where you are, right?
Yeah.
So, but the one thing that people want the most of is time. Like, I want money so I can have time, but that is the one thing that they waste the most of.
Hmm.
You want
I hate when people
you
waste
want
my time.
all this money to get more time, yet you waste all this time. You waste all this time talking about how you don't have enough money. It's all about action, right? So you got to make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm a true believer, because belief is the enemy of knowing. I believe it because I know it. If you can literally create your own world by like, not by thinking it alone, you're thinking it and you have to make it happen. It actually takes steps and
Action.
action. It takes
Yeah.
action.
And a plan.
You would be surprised how many people will get it. When I say the universe gets out of your way, people get out of your way. Like, here's something you can try. Right. For those of you listening, I mean, this is it sounds corny, but try this. So I remember when I was in New York, right? I've been there a few times, and
Hmm.
I do it I do it everywhere I go. So when I'm walking down a sidewalk, I walk upright, I'm smiling, I'm looking forward. I'm never looking down when I walk. I'm looking forward as if like I've got a mission. I've got to get somewhere, and I'm smiling, and I'm just
Mm.
walking, right? I'm just walking. You'd be surprised how many people look at you, and you got to make eye contact with people, and you just kind of nod your
Yeah.
head. People in general respond in kind. Like,
Of
if you say, "Hey,
course.
good morning," they'll say, "Good morning," and then you can test that out too. And I'll give you an example. But as you people see that, they see, well, this guy's on a mission. They literally get out of your way. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about, hey, where you're bumping shoulders. They
Yeah.
literally, people respond like, this guy's on a mission. He's got this
Yeah.
energy about him.
Right. I
Make
was gonna
way
say
for the
that.
guy. Make way for him. And that's what the world does for you. But you have to take that step and do it. If you're
Yeah.
looking
The
down the
actions.
whole
If
time,
you don't do them.
you
Yeah.
don't do them, it ain't gonna happen. But one of the guys that I'm trying to remember his name. God dog it. It's a self
God
book.
dog it.
Yeah, God dog it. I've
That's
read so many
Texas.
books. God dog it. God dang it. No, but I'm trying to think of his name, and I will here in a moment. But he was a great storyteller, and he talked about how people respond in kind. He says, give it a shot. He goes, jump into an elevator and make sure it's in the evening. Okay, like after 4 or 5 p.m. Not in the morning, not 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, late afternoon, but jump in an elevator after 5 o'clock, where it's obviously evening. Jump in the elevator, smile, and say good morning. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to go good morning,
Yeah.
or they're going
Question
to
it.
go good morning. People respond in kind. That is psychology 101. So if
Yeah.
you understand that Jedi mind trick, people, all I can say is this: your world will change once you understand how to really communicate, how people are. You can really shape your future and the potential that you. I mean, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
remember that I believe we all have innate abilities to that are super in my opinion. So
To an
uh,
extent. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
So, I
I
mean,
feel like
I
that.
can't fly or nothing, but I wish I could. But
I wish. Yeah. What's your superpower since you brought it up? You're going
oh
through all kinds of questions right now without me even asking, but it's
oh,
fine.
my bad, my bad. Well,
We're rolling.
I was taking notes. She's gonna ask this. She's gonna ask this. So let me just
I'm
get to
crossing them out as you go through, but yeah, keep going.
Ordinado. What's up, buddy? And that guy right there, man. I admire this man, Sensei. I admire him so much.
His dad was a preacher.
Oh, you can tell, man. You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell. That man's got so much. It's one of those things. When I first met Ordinado.
Wait. Before you get into that, you didn't answer my question.
Oh, what was that?
What's the superpower?
Oh, I would fly.
Okay, that was mine too.
It'd be flying.
Yeah.
And the reason why would I fly? Because I've had more dreams than I can count of flying. And every time I had a dream about flying as a young man, as a kid, and even as an adult, the very next day, I would really try to play it out in my head. Like, where was I flying? Man, it felt so real. And that feeling that I felt, I tried to emulate that. I tried to capture that feeling again in my day.
Oh,
And
wow.
and in those moments when I would get a sale, or I'd close a deal, or I'd make more money than I've ever made all week or something, or I would just accomplish something, I hit a goal, it felt like I was flying. And I was like,
That's cool.
that's the feeling that I want to feel all the time. So for me, flying is freedom, but it's also lonely. because at the end of the day, I mean, unless you're flying in a plane, right? And no one wants to be in a plane because, you know, you didn't complain about flying because, oh my God, I'm sitting next to this guy. But if you're flying, if you got the ability to fly like
Private
Superman, right?
business.
You absolutely, no, who else can fly, right? And no one can fly but yourself, right? There's one Superman. So it's definitely lonely, right? So that's something to consider. So if I'm, and it was kind of an eye opener for me, because as I was chasing that feeling for years, felt great. I was trying to go in for that rush again. I
Yeah.
realized that I was alone in that. No one else. I was leaving people behind, family, friends, relationships. I was focusing more on that than what mattered most, and it was the
Right.
relationships that I needed to cultivate. Because at the end of the day, all the stuff that I do, it matters nothing if I don't have
Yeah.
friends and family to share it with, right? So,
Yeah.
but
Sure.
if I had a superpower, it would be flying. I love the way that feels, you know. I
Yeah, I think I
skydive,
could
you know.
do that.
That's why I
I'm
ride a
afraid of heights,
motorcycle.
but I would
Yeah.
totally fly.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah. I love it.
So we have a question down here. It's not really a question, it's like a,
Mhm.
you know, kind of question, but I'm gonna read it. Juan Martina says, Hola, ¿qué pasa? How you doing? So with
¿Qué pasa?
that, my other question, do you speak Spanish?
Very little. No, I'm a lot like Daniel, where I didn't grow up speaking Spanish. So funny story. So my mom speaks Spanish, and I thought my dad spoke Spanish. Yeah. So my dad's from South Texas. So my family is from Texas, like 3 generations, right? So 4 generations. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like my dad immigrated from Mexico or anything like so.
But Texas used to be Mexico
It
before.
used to be. So about the time Texas was purchased, right,
Yeah.
from Mexico, my great grandfather was already in Texas. So I guess you could say absolutely, but I don't have any family that have actually come from Mexico. They're all from South Texas, right?
Right.
But so the funny story is my dad, I could have swore, Leona, that my dad spoke Spanish. His girlfriend speaks Spanish. I've heard him speak Spanish. This whole time I thought he spoke Spanish. In fact, he insisted that I take Spanish in school. I think I took it in 7th, 8th, and maybe a little bit in high school. And I'll never forget this. So I learned Spanish a little bit, enough to pass the classes. And remember, I'm thinking my whole life, my dad speaks Spanish, you know, because he can order, you know, because I've heard him. I could have swore I heard him.
He
speaking
probably
it.
knew some terms that
He
could
knows
just
a little. He knows a little
say.
bit less than street Spanish. Okay. So
Yeah,
let me tell you
less
what
than
happens.
conversational.
Less than well, maybe a little bit. Maybe he can have conversations.
Maybe like a 3rd grade conversation.
Yeah, right. Like, you know, like ¿qué pasa? You know, that's about it.
Yeah.
But so a funny story is I'm already in IT. You know, I'm already doing the IT thing, and I show up at my dad's house. I'm already married, and I remember he calls me over. He's like, "I need you to come over to the house. I'm having an issue with my phone. Something's wrong with it." I'm like, "All right, Dad, I'll be in the area. I'll swing by." So I pop in the house, and he's on the phone with T-Mobile. If you guys have T-Mobile out there, I'm sure you guys do, right? But
yeah.
So he's like talking to this lady. What he did mistakenly, and he's always had some sort of flip phone. My dad, you know, I've had all the smart. I'm an IT guy. I've had every damn phone. I mean, have every
old man phones.
I've had every smartphone known to man, from a from a BlackBerry all to every iPhone, Droid, whatever. I mean, it's just my nature, right? So my dad has his flip phone, like his Motorola flip phone, and I'll never forget this. He mistakenly put it in Spanish.
Of course.
Okay. So he's going through it, probably trying to send a message. He hit Spanish. Now it's in Spanish. Okay. So he's trying to figure out how to put it back. You know, all the menus are in Spanish.
Right.
So he's like, well, he doesn't call me yet. He calls T-Mobile customer support. But because he put it in Spanish, when he hit call T-Mobile, it called someone in Spanish.
Of course.
It called someone that speaks Spanish. So I happen to walk in as he's jumping on the line with them, right? And they're on speakerphone. And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, Dad?" He goes, "Oh." He goes, "Hold on." He goes, "Hold on. My son's here. He speaks Spanish." And so my dad goes, I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Hold on." He's like, "I put my phone in, you know, I put it in Spanish mode. I need you to convert it back to English. I don't know how to do it." I'm like, Dad, remember this lady's on speakerphone, right?
Yeah.
Who speaks Spanish. Okay.
Yeah.
And she's like, hello. You know, and I'm like, "Hold on, ma'am." I said, "Dad, look, you speak Spanish. I mean, right? You speak." He goes, "No, I don't speak Spanish." So I'm like, "What do you mean you don't speak Spanish? What are you talking about?" He goes, "No, I don't speak Spanish." I said, "You don't speak or read, you can't read or write Spanish?" He goes, "No." I'm like, "What?
Like, where have I been?"
I was like, this has all been a lie to me. Trust but verify. This is where it all comes from, right? But he's like, he goes, "No, I don't speak Spanish." I'm like, "What?" So he hands me the phone. I'm like, no, you speak Spanish. I'm arguing with him in front of this lady. And she's like, guys, I speak English. I'm like, hold on, I'm talking to my dad. Long of the story is that I was like, we're gonna have to call you back. I hung up the phone. I was like, you've been lying to me my whole life. I
Oh
thought
my
you spoke
gosh.
Spanish, and I was like, Dad, you told me that you didn't want me to learn Spanish because you didn't want me to struggle with English going through school. He goes, well, yeah, I said that, but because I didn't know Spanish. I was so
What
upset
the heck?
for a whole year. I didn't believe anything my dad told me. I was like, nah, I don't believe you, Dad. I don't believe you.
Oh, the
That's a
nine
funny story.
crypto.
It's funny, man.
That's hilarious. So much assumption
So
going
much,
on here.
yeah. He and I are
You know what
arguing about who
assumption
speaks
means,
Spanish.
right?
Yeah, ass out of you and me, buddy. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your nickname for him.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So, how about this? Like, I get this feeling like, you're pretty pensive, and I used to call you in the comments before I was ever on live with you or anything like that. I used to call you the philosopher. So, yeah. Have you ever been a writer?
I do write, not like in art. I don't have a book coming out, but I write a lot of poetry. I do like to write.
Yeah.
I love to read. I love to read.
I hate reading, but I do it to learn.
Well, yeah, of course, to learn, right? I'm exactly the same way. I'm only going to read when it benefits me.
Yeah.
Because the problem I have is I don't have the time to sit down and glass of wine, cigar.
Oh yeah, leisure reading? No,
I don't have the time to. I hope to have that soon. I do. I really hope I do. But right now, I only read and I somewhat speed read, right? So like I cut to the chase, get what I need, and get out. Unfortunately, that comes a lot of missing the points and mistakes. But I get the gist of it at the end of the day. But I do love to write. When my girls were younger, it reminds me of I actually wrote a story, kind of a I guess it was a kid's, I won't say kid's book, but kind of like a Narnia. You remember the Narnia books?
The Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, I love the Lord of the Rings. I love that's going to be my jam. I love the Lord of the Rings.
Very fantastic.
I love
mixed
Tolkien
with some like old days,
J.R. Tolkien. That's his books. If you don't know what the Lord of the Rings are, I mean, there's so much wisdom and yeah, it's a fantasy world and all that stuff, but he has a lot.
It's hard to get through for me.
It is, but there's a lot of wisdom in what he's writing, especially when he was writing it because it was during wartime and all these things. But the point I'm making is after, obviously when these movies came to the screen, I had already kind of read some of the stories, right? I mean, we all did. I once I saw the movies, which I absolutely loved by Peter Jackson, I went to read them and I realized, damn, I've been missing so much. There's so much of the world out there, so much of the world out there. But so I do write, but I wrote a story. It's kind of in the same theme or genre of the Lord of the Rings and Narnia. And I remember telling my daughters as they were growing up, they were like, Dad, tell us a story before we go to bed. So I was big about, and rather than just go to bed, I would always go tell them a story. Rather than read them a book, I would tell them a story. So this story, I have it written down. It's probably about, I think I probably wrote a page for about a year. So every night when I would put them to bed, Dad, tell us a story, I would add to the story and I had to go write it down. So it became this huge story about, yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy. I go back and read it. It's like, what was I thinking? But the girls love it. They still remember me telling them stories and kind of writing on the, on the fly, if you will. But it was fun for me. So I love the stuff. So I was able to take, I was really able to take my life lessons, and my teachable moments and kind of put it, moral of the story type thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you stuff the moral of the story stuff in the little story to your daughters?
I tried to. Well, remember I said that my dad raised me, but he struggled with PTSD, right? And we didn't really know back then what it was. I didn't know. No. To me, it was normal. My dad would sit in a room and we would never talk. He would just watch TV, watch the news, and that was my life.
There's a lot of fathers, by the way, who've never been in the war, never had any kind of PTSD, and they do that too. So
that's comforting, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So my dad, he would watch two things. He would watch Nick at Night and CNN.
Oh, I don't even know how old CNN was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So watch the news. Fox News wasn't even around yet. Obviously, my dad didn't really watch Fox, but he watched CNN or the local news. But he was always into politics. He just loved news. My dad was all, but he would watch Nick at Night, and through the Nick at Night, what Nick at Night is, it was this channel called Nickelodeon. But it was a lot of the old shows like I Love Lucy, The Andy Griffith Show, Dick Van Dyke, Taxi.
Oh, the black and white shows.
All the black and whites and all. It went from like 50s all the way up to the 70s and 80s. What was the other one? Who's the Boss? I mean, all these great shows from the 80s, these sitcoms, all the way down to the 50s. So I grew up watching that. My dad wouldn't let me watch anything else. I didn't go watch movies. I didn't watch. He didn't let me watch. We always had cable. One thing my dad always had was cable. That's what we had always. I
didn't have other stuff, but yeah,
I didn't. You know, it's a funny story about that is, but so I grew up watching the Andy Griffith Show. That was my favorite, and I Love Lucy. You know, the comedy of Lucille Ball and Andy Griffith. But I remember in the Andy Griffith Show, you had Andy the sheriff, and you had Barney the clown cop. You know, his deputy was a clown. Who
deputy,
was like, yeah, which is what I call him Deputy Prado. But don't, you heard it here, folks. So Prado, he's never shot a gun
or anything.
No. So folks, when Prado goes to the gun range with me, he will get one bullet in his pocket. Look up Barney Fife. That's it, guys. But anyways, but I remember in those shows, there was always some. You had Opie, who loved his dad, who was the sheriff. There was always the moral of the story. Then it was great. It was fun stuff. Right. So that's how I grew up. Going, okay, every 30 minutes, I'm going to learn a life lesson. You know, that's how I grew up. So I would say, if anything, I grew up watching. Andy Taylor was my dad. He was the guy in the show. But that's pretty funny. I mean, he would be the one that would kind of like explain. I learned a lot from that show, honestly.
No, I hear you.
I mean, so they kind of like it. So it's funny because I grew up watching those shows I'm in the 80s, right? I'm an 80s kid, or and probably early 90s, and I'm learning from the 60s and 50s or 60s and 70s. So when I
definitely act older.
And it came from that, So when I hit the world, when I would go to school, they're like, what? Like, who are you, man?
Yeah.
I'm like, where are you guys acting like? It was funny. The way what I thought was funny was different from them. There was a lot of my friends that was like kids. I'm like, you guys are boring. I'm gonna hang out with those guys.
That's how my youngest son is. He hangs out with older kids all the time, like to the point where he's gotten a little bit in trouble in school this year. But he always is like judging kids. Like when he's at youth group at church, like the youth pastor will come out and she'd be like, oh my gosh, David was like side-eyeing these kids today. But and it's funny because he's like a year younger. His age is a year younger than his grade. So he's younger than all these kids, but they call him Unc, like uncle, because he acts like an old man. But I get it.
Is it safe to say that he has wisdom beyond his years?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. They say he's really mature, and I get it, but I think it's because of the way I treated him and his brother. His brother, yeah, he can act a little oldish too, but they're both very like.
You have to remember, a boy, as cute as they are when they're baby boys, that will be a man one day.
Yeah.
And you have to raise him to be a man. A young boy doesn't become a man. He's raised to be a man.
Right.
And that's by his parents and his the household that he grows up in.
Yeah.
And it's the same for a little girl. She
doesn't just become a lady.
That's right. It's all about culture, 100%. So, we are products of our culture, and I'm a sole believer in that, and I mean, at the end of the day, I think if I take a kid and drop him in a bad place, internally, innately, he knows morally what's right and wrong, but we're going to do what humans do. We're going to just kind of go.
It's hard to go against the grain all the time. Everywhere.
It is.
So he might say no once or twice, but then when everybody's doing it, like, you might get 1 out of 10 kids or 2 out of 10 kids that will just every time say no, but it's very hard.
It is.
It's like,
one of the responsibilities that we as parents have is to teach our kids to say no, because there are for every affirmation, there was a book that I love. It was called it was Dr. James Dobson. It's one of the things that
I remember that guy.
Yeah, he's a child psychologist, and I remember he was talking one of the books. It was Raising Adolescents, I think is what it was, or Preparing for Adolescence. So one of the things I did with my daughters, and now and my ex-wife did, because daughters, right? I mean, I can only do so much as a dad, right? It's really up to the mom.
Of course.
80% of the time, right? So I just remember he would talk about, if you're going to affirm, or I would say, if you're going to correct a child, or for every affirmation, or every if I say this right,
every correction
there needs to be an affirmation. Yeah. So if you have 7 corrections, there needs to be 7 affirmations.
Yeah, because you don't want to beat the kid down, like mentally and emotionally.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And that's what my, the funny thing is that's what my dad would do with me in the short periods of times that I would get to have conversations with him. That's what he would
Mhm.
do. He would like, this is wrong. And he would tell me, why it was wrong. And do I understand? And then he would tell me what I was doing right. So, oh, Daniel up? Did I wake Daniel?
No,
Oh,
I think my sister's here.
oh, okay.
Hold on, because he's a big boy. He might
Oh,
scare.
yeah. I've seen him.
I'll be right back. You can
You're
you
good to
can
go.
click on some comments. You have control, right?
I don't.
Oh, you got kicked off? I think because he added somebody. I'll be right back.
Yeah. We got limited spots. Well, guys, enough about me. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are enjoying a little bit about me. Once again, I'm talking too much. But if you guys got some questions, I'd love to hear them. You probably know enough about me already, though. Hopefully you're enjoying the little live that we're doing here.
All right. He's a pretty good boy, but my sister's over and she came back late and he doesn't like that, He didn't get she didn't get his permission. Oh my gosh, look at this. Yeah, I think he had to add somebody the other day with the 8-hour live.
Oh yeah. So, we do that. We do that all the time. You're dropping.
Yeah, because you were on there.
Yeah, I think you were on mine too. But I was like, do I upgrade to do I spend $300 a month?
Unlimited?
Yeah. No, we just need it. We just
add them when we need.
Yeah, just rotate. Yeah.
That's
what I love about
bee's knees.
Oh. Bro, fortunately, or the funny thing is, I know what he means. Thanks, brother. You are too, brother.
I know what it means because I saw it in a movie, but like nobody talked like that about me.
Basically, he's saying I'm kind of a big deal. Is what he's saying.
Yeah, but like, do bees even have knees?
I was making fun of NR with your interview with him, man. It was so funny, man. He was like, bro.
Why?
No, because it's because he's my boy. But I was like, bro, I was saying this about NR. He was like, he was on your show, he was on your interview, and you were just like asking him a question. And he was like, yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. And he would take a drink. It reminds me of Anchor Man, but anyways.
Yeah, he's funny. I was like, no pimp cup for my show. Like, I felt a little insulted. It was crazy. He had like he had the what do you call it? The redneck cup.
Yeah, it's a solo cup, or what do you call them? Solos? Yeah.
There was a thing at the bottom.
Oh, it looked like a wine glass, but it was a.
Yes, that's what they call the redneck cups. Because I said to him, I was like, I remember like years ago, I was going to do a redneck party, but then I was like, I don't think I could do this. I don't think any of my friends would show up.
It's funny because like down here in Texas, like everybody's a redneck. It's like.
I know, but I'm from the Bronx.
No, I got you. I got you.
Maybe one year, like when we're old enough, when nobody really cares.
Yeah, but, I went when I was in Manhattan. I think the last time I was in Manhattan was right before COVID. It was 2018-ish, maybe 2019. And I hadn't been there in a few years, and maybe 2 or 3 years since the last time I was there. I got a client up there that every now and then he flies me out, and I'm get to chat and all that stuff. Kind of do an assessment on his offices out there, but and he's like a hedge fund manager type guy, so he's got these amazing offices off Wall Street. So anyways, I remember being up there and I was like, I hadn't been there in a while. And I just remember, man, people up here are pretty uppity, man. It's like, what the freaking heck, man. I remember I was in Canada one time and it was my first time to Canada. I was in Calgary, which to me, Calgary is a lot like Texas as far as the people. They have a rodeo up there. I mean, like we have
Whoa.
Yeah, they love the rodeo.
Random.
Yeah, very random. But because of oil and gas, there's a lot of people from Canada that I work with here in the States, especially in the Texas area. It's just Canadians are just, Canadians are some of my best friends. Most of my friends are Canadians, most of them. And so I remember like, you got to come up to Canada. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna love it. So I remember going up there and I walked into a Jim Horton, which is like a Starbucks up there. It's like their coffee. And I went to open the door, like I'm walking up to the restaurant, to the coffee shop, the cafe. I went to open the door like we do in Texas because there was a young lady walking up. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me get this for you. I don't even make eye contact. It's just a habit, just go ahead.
Yeah, same thing with my boys.
Yeah, and she stopped and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm holding the door for you. She's like, I don't need you to hold the door for me.
Yeah, I didn't say you did.
Yeah. I was like, go ahead. And she's like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, oh my God. Right. And anyway, so then I opened it up.
Made it weird.
I opened it up. Yeah. Why'd you make it weird? So I just opened it up and she finally went in. I was like, what the heck was that? I've never experienced that before in my life. I'm like, So now
That's
I'm like
silly.
door shy. I'm like, do I open for you?
Not door shy.
It's like it's changed, right?
Yeah, people are weird. My niece did that to my youngest son. So
Really?
my young yeah, it's weird because she's older than him. So my older son is here, then one of my nieces was born like a couple of years later, and then another niece, and then my youngest son. So the youngest son, he's got this deep voice, like you would never believe. It's so deep. His feet are huge. It's very crazy, like the way he's been growing.
And he's 8, you know.
No, no, he's actually 14.
Oh,
But
he's still growing, man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he's still growing, but like over the years. So even a few years ago, my niece came here. She came to stay for a couple of weeks. I don't know, probably Christmas time. And my youngest son is like jumping in front of her to get the door. She's like, "Oh, do you want me to get the garbage?" And he's like, "No," like women can't touch the garbage. And she
Really?
hated it every minute of it. She was like, "I can do it myself. I can get the garbage. I don't need you to get the door for me." It's like, a couple
He's
times
like,
like
he's
close.
like,
He was
he's like,
just
all right,
like,
when the roof's leaking, let me know how it goes, right?
I mean, that's kind of crap my kid would say. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
we saw something the other day. I don't remember what it was, but he was like, "Oh yeah, we were going to." I was dropping him off for basketball. Actually, I think it was yesterday. I was on the live for a few, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta go drop him off or whatever." So I go to drop him off, and we see these 3 dirt bikes go by. So there's no sidewalks where we live because it's like the country. And the third one was so far back. It was so far back, and I'm like, why are they leaving their friend? And then I look, and I'm like, that looks like a girl. And then
It was a girl.
dude, we get a block. I'll say a block, but up to
Damn,
the
a
next
block.
street.
They're
We
like
get up to
loser,
the next
like
street,
loser.
and and I'm like, the 2 guys are stopped waiting for this girl.
They're talking. You know what they're saying, right? They're like, bro, why you bring your sister, bro? I
Or
mean, come on.
no, I mean she kind of could have been, but she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
thick enough for you to tell that she's a girl through
Oh,
the
okay,
clothes,
okay.
So David was like, "Yeah, women's rights, right?" He's like, "You want to do everything, right?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"David, stop it." Yeah, this is
fourth
the
gear.
crap. Like,
Yeah, that's funny.
yeah, but it was funny. It was so
Like,
true.
what are you
Like,
doing? It is true. Yeah.
I was a tomboy, whatever you want, tom girl. I don't
Yeah.
know why I said tomboy, but yeah,
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
was all into it.
My
But you know
daughter,
what?
my daughters were like that for a
I
bit, but
climbed the trees. I would do like all kind. Like I remember one time I split my pants because I used to like wear baggy pants, and I was like doing climbing up and stuff. I didn't care. Yeah, I wasn't crying. I fell out of the tree, whatever it was. I was doing what the boys were doing, wrestling, all that crap, and I didn't cry about it. And I didn't be like, "Wait for me." I was like the shortest, smallest one always. And you know what I did? I just learned how to walk faster,
there it
run
is. Yeah,
faster.
that's
Might
it.
have had an asthma attack, but didn't
You know,
matter. I kept to go.
and as the boys, they would respect that. Like, ah, man, she'll keep up. She'll keep up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
I
know, so
never got
so
any like.
boys don't want tom girls. We want at the end of the day, boys for men. I mean, Paul talks about
Well,
men
when
and
you get to
women.
a certain age, when you're
Yeah, yeah,
younger, yeah, you want
yeah.
them to be
You don't know until
yeah.
when all of a sudden you're like, oh, girls, right? As a guy, you don't want them to be like your brother. At the end of the day, that's what makes
Yeah.
wars are started over women. At the end of the day, I mean, you
Oh, for
guys
sure.
yield
Yeah.
so much power over men. You have no idea.
No,
Um,
some of us know.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah, y'all know, and that I was being rhetorical, of
We
course, but
learn at some point.
yeah,
Yes.
you learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And back to the whole, where, I don't need no one to take the trash out for me.
That's
For
crazy.
men, for men, we thrive on knowing we have a purpose. We just want to feel like we're needed. We want to feel like we actually contribute to someone. At the end of the day, one of my mottos for my business is if I don't add value to your business, then I don't charge you. You don't pay my invoice.
Hmm.
If I haven't at some point added some sort of value to your business, then it's been a waste of our time together, right? And even for the people that I bring on my team, when I bring on a guy that I'm going to train and hopefully replicate myself in them, if they join my team and they know nothing, and if they decide 6 months or a year from now, like, hey, I got a different job, I get making more money. Through the exit interviews, one of the first questions I ask is, are you a better IT guy? Are you more equipped than you were when you started? And
Hmm.
I've not had anyone ever tell me, no, I'm not. They've always
Right.
said it. And so then I'm like, you know what? Then that's what I want to hear. I'm glad that you're leaving because you're going to go and do what I did because I was where you're at. So if I can add value to your life, then then that gives me purpose. If I don't add
Yeah.
value in any way, in any part, wherever you allow me to, then we're wasting our time. because there's billions of people on this planet, and think about that. There's people everywhere, and we go through life and we're seeing, 1,000 people a day. If you're in the city, or if you're not, you're at work, you're probably seeing a couple hundred people. You're driving down the freeways and you're not really talking to people. Everybody just doing their thing. But those that you do engage with, you got to make it worth it every time.
Yeah.
The human experience to me is something that cannot be taken for granted. I mean, there's so much life out there, so many things to enjoy. I saw a comment, if you can bring it up. It's from Rich Hudman. It's about 8:13 p.m. my time, probably 9 your time. He says, he said, you were in PA recently. We're at, I'm in Northeast PA, Poconos. Okay. I was in Fort Washington. Poconos. I was going to say Pocahontas.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas, bro. Poconos. It would be Poconos. But I was in Fort Washington, and then I was in Langhorne. I was there for about a weekend. Had a client up there. Just seeing, doing a site assessment, doing my thing out there. They have offices nationwide, and this is one of the first offices in PA that I've got to go to. I think they got 2 more out there. So I was probably about, I did the GPS of my hotel. I was about an hour and a half from about where Daniel usually is. Okay. So I was like, D, what's up, DP? I'm in PA, man. Let's meet up, Crickets. I was like, come on, bro. I mean, he was busy. He was asleep, but I was joking with him, but I know he would. Daniel would definitely wouldn't. I was like, I wanted to go have a coffee with him or something, because we see each other on lives. That would have been really cool, right? Would have been really cool. But what's up, Rich? Yeah, and next time I'm out there, hopefully I'm gonna be out there. I think I'm gonna be out there in the next few months. I'll let you know, man. Maybe sooner. We definitely gotta grab a coffee, bro. We'll do a Dunkin' Donuts, man.
Not Dunkin' Donuts.
apparently that's the thing up there, man.
Well, Dano likes the coffee there better. He doesn't like the Starbucks coffee, but there's better places. But when Pride and his wife come up, on our interview, he said that she doesn't cook. So I was like, we could go out to dinner, but then I was like, maybe I should make them something.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because they always go out. Yeah, I do cook.
That's how you know that you guys are amazing, because it's like, let's go meet somewhere. But if you're willing to take the time and cook, invite somebody in your home. I mean, that's just so unheard of these days.
Well,
I
really got a pretty big dog, so
so it's actually a cool thing that you do that. If you can make the time to do it, for sure, right?
Sure.
But it goes a long way, because what are they going to remember most? Oh, I remember I hung out with DP and Leona.
Yeah.
Man, we were at the house, man. And because I think if you meet at a restaurant, it's cool, right?
Yeah. But it changes the vibe.
It does.
Definitely less intimate. It's louder.
Yeah. When you get to hang out the house, and
you're in a rush too. Yeah.
No, I mean, now you can really be yourself, right? And at the end of the day,
you can be more comfortable. I don't know how much the first. When we met Pride, we were there with Pride for a week, so he would probably be more comfortable. But his wife might need a little bit more time. But she might just be totally comfortable and.
Are you talking about when you guys were out in Dubai? Are you talking about, or?
Yeah, Pride was there, but his wife wasn't. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So we got to know him pretty well. But there was even more stuff that came out on the live, and that was cool. Pride's a funny guy, because he seems like he's quiet.
No, he's funny, man.
His volume is quiet, but he's not a quiet guy. He's not shy.
He's very witty. I've been backstage with the guy. He's another. He reminds me of a Crypto Terry, where he's just quick to listen, slow to speak. But I know Pride is a people watcher. In my opinion.
Oh yeah.
He's doing. I know him.
But he says funny stuff, and you're like,
he does. I catch him. I watch his lives. Man, he's very funny, man. I catch him. Yeah, he's a funny guy. And one thing I like about Pride is he remembers stuff. So for instance, like, he remembers things about people. If you say something, he'll bring it up, like, later on, maybe on another live, or whenever he and I get to interact. And one thing I really appreciate about it, he always invites me to his shows, and it's usually in times I can't come on, but without a beat, man, he's just like, hey, Kryptonian, man, you're more than welcome. But like I know, for one thing that I can feel really, that always reminds me of Pride, is when I go to a Chili's. We go to a Chili's at least once or twice a month here, and at Lava Cake, man. I know when I'm eating a Lava Cake, my boy Pride is eating one at least once that month. It's
For
cool,
real. Once a
right?
week.
Yeah, he and I can make a joke about it, but we know at the end of the day we both get that same endorphin feeling when we eat that lava cake.
Oh
So
my gosh, I
we're
can't.
sharing that experience. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
I like the cookie. The cookie's my thing.
Oh yeah, the cookie skillet. Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I ordered one, I don't know, like a couple months ago. My friend came down or up wherever, whatever the heck he lives. I don't know. And we went there and I ordered it to go because I knew I would have a teensy bit of it and then my kid would eat the rest. And we got home and it wasn't in the bag. And I'm like, come
Oh
on.
man.
So mad. I know I
Nah,
shouldn't
man.
have eaten it, but still, I just wanted a little bit.
That cookie skillet, man,
Man.
is pretty good, man.
Yeah.
What's
Ashley
up,
around
Ashley?
Kim says, my husband David cooks and we love having our friends over and spoiling them. Same here.
That's so cool.
Dano, he grills. So when we have
Well,
company,
we know he grills hot dogs and cheeseburgers, but not barbecue, right? Is that right? Did I say that right?
no, he's not really into it. Sometimes I'll like prep some chicken, but he's not really into that. He likes hamburgers and hot dogs, and
I like me some ham. I like me some
other stuff.
some hamburgers. I like some hot dogs. I mean, so
Yeah.
I know people were clowning on him, but I get what he's saying because I've been to 100 obviously Texas barbecues. Freaking, there's one
Yeah.
right now going on probably down the street. But yeah, there's always going to be burgers and hot dogs. It's you expect it.
That's why
expected.
that's what he is. He wants
yeah.
the fundamentals, and then if there's others or extras, then
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he
I
prefers
get
the
it. I
things.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
like
I
to
get what
have
he's
them
saying.
too, but I don't eat hot dogs ever. I hate hot dogs. I don't eat pork. I don't eat
I don't
chicken.
eat pork either. Yeah, I don't eat
Yeah,
pork. I
none
don't
of
eat.
it.
I eat very, very little beef. I'll eat a tomahawk steak. I'll eat
That's
filet mignon.
not little beef.
Well, I don't eat it by myself. I'll share it, but
Okay.
maybe once or twice a year. But a filet
Right. Okay.
mignon, that's it. That's the most I'll do. Me and my wife will
Yeah.
share an 8 ounce or 6 ounce. Honestly,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
that's little. That's not too bad.
yeah, very little. But me, chicken, fish. I don't eat shellfish. I don't eat pork. I keep it very
Yeah.
clean. I try to keep it clean and lean because
Except
I
that
eat
chicken.
so.
Chicken's filthy in America.
Oh, it is. Big. But I have a friend of mine that he actually has range chicken, so it's nothing from the store. So it's none of
No, you
all the.
better worry about that feed, my friend. That
Yeah.
GMO corn.
Well. He actually he doesn't partake in any of that actually. So the
Oh,
chickens are
good.
very small.
Okay.
But man, they're so good. But yeah, because a lot of that all that feed, man, is crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's so off the grid, and I'm learning so much from this guy.
I'm
He's one of
trying
my.
to do that here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because they you have to literally how are you going to feed your chicken? Do you guys have chickens? I mean, you guys probably have enough land to do that, I would imagine.
We do. We're on an acre and a half, but I'm afraid to get chickens because I think the dog's gonna kill them.
They may, yeah. Pit bull.
Oh no, he's a killer.
You have a bull mastiff or a pit bull or something?
No,
or?
he's a pit bull, but he's an American Staffordshire Terrier, so he's
Okay.
strong.
Yeah,
fast.
consider those dead. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a lot of management. Like, okay, let the chickens out, put them in the coop.
Right, but they're supposed to be free range, and then he's gonna murder them.
Yeah.
I told you his body
something
count.
to
I think his
consider,
body
yeah.
counts are like 8 now, 8 or 9.
What is he killing?
The animals.
Squirrels?
He killed a raccoon, squirrel.
Okay,
chipmunk.
raccoons are good. Squirrels, okay. Squirrels are just rats with fluffy tails, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Chipmunks.
they don't come around anymore. Not since
He kills
killed
chipmunks. Oh man.
Well, there was only one because I thought it was a rescue story. I ruined that whole thing. I tried to get the chipmunk out because he ran into something, and my dog was there. I was like, "Oh, here, take the camera," to my son, and I like lifted whatever the thing was, and he ran like basically right into my dog's mouth. I was like, "What are you doing, Alvin?" I was so
man.
like it was horrible. Like
Oh, that's horrible. That is horrible, man.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna go over it, but the story got worse. But it was meant to be a rescue story. And then he killed some mice. We had some dog food that my dog doesn't eat dog food, but we got like a couple of free bags, and I was gonna donate it, and I forgot because I've never used dog food for the dog, so I kind of just forgot about it.
It's not even really food, honestly.
But, exactly, but instead of throwing it away, I was just gonna give it to at least whatever dogs from the shelter, and so like I found one mouse that was dead. Then 2, then 3, then I'm like, why are they coming in the garage? But I forgot we left that food in there. And the dog was killing them and leaving them next to the food bags.
You got a good dog because some dogs don't even care.
No. Listen, anybody coming in, if I tell him they're coming and they're a friend, oh my gosh, he's like going to knock you down with the licks and the tail wags and all that. But if he doesn't know you're coming, like my sister, when she just came in, he didn't know she was coming in. She usually comes like 5 hours earlier, and he was like, "Oh no, this is
Oh
an apple."
hell no! You're on my time now. You're on CPT
Yeah.
time now, baby.
Oh,
You know
he's great.
the funny
Yeah,
thing
he's
is,
got his
what I
own
love about
time.
dogs is they are truly men's best friend. You know, man's best
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were put on earth. I think they were created. I think they were just like just so geniusly created for people. You know, they
Yeah,
do.
I love the
They
dog.
add so much value to a human being's life. I love
Yeah.
dogs. I
Yeah.
absolutely
Do
love
you have a
dogs.
dog?
I not where I'm renting right now in my house. We're buying a house here, hopefully in a few months.
Okay.
But I did have an American Akita that I bought for my daughter. I've had Schnauzers. I've had,
How was
I've
the Akita with the kids? Because those dogs can be a little
I
touchy.
for my oldest daughter's 16th birthday, I bought her an American Akita. She wanted a
Oh, she
Shiba
was already
Inu.
16.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, with young kids, yeah,
Right.
you hear the stories. One of
Yeah.
my older sisters had a Shiba Inu, but no kids. Great dog, but
We
yeah,
got attacked by one.
they're not, yeah, they're not really kid dogs. They're really not, unless you really, because they're very powerful dogs. They have a very strong personality.
Yeah.
Loyal to a fault. I mean, they're amazing dogs. They only bark when threatened. They never bark. So when you hear your Akita bark, something's up. Okay,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I got my daughter for, it was her 16th birthday. I think I bought her a Jeep and an Akita, right? She was like, "Oh my
Wow.
god." Oh yeah, so it was so fun. So she always wanted an Akita. So my youngest daughter I took to Japan. So it's funny because my daughters are half Hispanic, half Asian. So my oldest daughter like really really falls in the Hispanic category. Like if you met, they both look kind of Asian, I guess. But I mean, I guess it makes a match.
No, I don't
But
think so. I think
yeah, yeah.
they look pretty well. I saw the one
My
Levy.
oldest looks Hispanic, 100%, right? So
Yeah.
maybe now she looks kind of Filipino, I guess, Filipino, but
We'll
yeah,
get into that in a second. Yeah.
yeah. So she totally so loves the Hispanic culture. That's where she falls in. She knows she's
Yeah.
half Asian. My
Yeah.
youngest, straight up Asian. I mean, everything is just straight up complete. So you know, growing up,
What,
you
like
know,
her look, like her makeup, her
she
attitude?
even looks more Asian, looks Asian, and
Gotcha.
yeah, so it's like it's funny because I'm looking at a Hispanic chick, a chick or a daughter, and a Hispanic and a Hispanic an Asian daughter, and it's like I've got it, and they literally act the the stereotypes,
Oh my
unfortunately.
gosh. Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun raising them. It's so much fun, and
Yeah.
they love to hate each other. I always have a great time when they're in the same room. But I guess, but my oldest daughter, I got her the Akita, which is funny because my youngest was like, "Why would you get her the Akita?" Because Akita is an actual Japanese dog, right? She's like,
Yeah.
"Why would you get her the Akita?" And I
And
actually
I'm
got,
the Asian one.
yeah, I actually got my well, she likes dogs, but she prefers cats, right? So I got her
Oh
a
no, not
Scottish
a
fold.
cat lady daughter.
Yeah. So it's a Scottish fold. So it's the cat that has kind of the oval head with the real short ears. The cutest cats. They even call them owl cats because the way their heads look.
Yeah.
So I got her the cat and I got her the Akita, separate times, of course. And the cat and the Akita, I could never keep them together, obviously.
Really? They never became friends?
No, because the Akita was introduced, as a puppy and then became an adult.
Then the cat came?
Then the cat came. So that was a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
But long with the short, the Akita was amazing. That was my favorite. I've had all kinds of dogs. In one of my first IT positions, my first IT jobs was at an animal rescue here in Texas, Pasadena, actually.
Oh, I think you mentioned that a little bit.
Yeah. So I got to be it was their first time they actually introduced some sort of adoption based computer based adoption system. So they need to hire some sort of IT guy. So I worked for the city of Pasadena. So I'm in there and I'm around nothing. I'm in an animal shelter essentially. So that's when I realized, and my mom, I'm close with my mom, even though I come from a divorced family, my mom's always had animals, dogs, poodles, and all these things.
Oh.
So I knew I had a love for animals, but it wasn't until I worked there I realized I don't love dogs. I need a dog.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what I mean? Like they're just amazing. I love dogs. So growing up, my girls, I make sure at least my oldest, we always had dogs and stuff. And as they got older, 16 years old, I got her the Akita. She has the Akita and everything. And the youngest has the cat. Now that I'm remarried, my stepdaughters want a dog. And I'm like, well, let me get out of this rental house. We're building a house now, so we will absolutely have dogs.
That's cool. Did you hear about Pride?
No, I haven't.
They had a dog. They had a puppy. And
Oh,
then he said his wife said it was too much and they got rid of the puppy.
oh
I felt
man.
so bad. Yeah.
You know,
I
if you,
actually,
it's kind of, if you get past the first few months, maybe
yeah.
then it's heaven after that, guys. I would tell you that. It's like if
Uh,
especially if it's a puppy because it's a baby, you know, and
no, if you
it
don't train your dog, it can be HELL.
that's right.
I don't say
That's
that
right.
word, but
No, no, I got you. You're right, 100%. They will,
yeah,
they will, you will be their humans, or he will be your dog, and he needs to be your
yeah,
dog before that you're his
yeah.
human. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I know people like make fun of me all the time because my dog has a bed and like an actual bed, like and all this stuff. But if I snap, my dog stops whatever dumb nonsense he's doing, unless
And he
it's like
goes to
a
bed.
perceived threat, like an actual, like an animal or like a
Mhm.
man that we don't know. I could snap and then it's done. I don't have to yell at my dog. I never had to hit him, never had to like flex at him. Like I see people do that. He's 90 pounds. I'm like 125 pounds. And this is like my heaviest I've ever
He's
been.
90 pounds and muscle. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah,
even in his head, when he opens his mouth, it's like as big as my head, literally.
I saw
So,
him in the car one time with Prado. He did a live a while back, and I
oh,
remember
yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Damn!"
Yeah.
Explains a lot. Explains a
But
lot.
like Dano, because I was not allowed to have a dog when I was growing up. I'm allergic, and I don't know. My mom just said no, and all my best friends had dogs. It was so annoying. So
Mhm.
finally, I think even Dano said no for a while because I thought that I wasn't going to be able to handle a dog. But I'm like obsessed with pit bulls. I was obsessed. I studied everything. I knew like if we get this staffy, that's what you call these dogs. They're like high drive, high
Absolutely.
energy, and strong,
Yeah.
so they can deal with little boys beating them up or whatever, roughing them up and stuff. And they have the drive, but then they can calm down too. Like when it's time to just go lay down. My dog could like run around, have his zoomies. Zoomies like when they spin around a lot and they,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he can have the zoomies, but then if you go lay down, he'll just go and lay down. But he's always ready to like pop off. So you got to be careful. But we got him, and I was like, all right, like I gotta have control of him because Dano is all the time at work and the boys are here. And like a few times I saw him, like I would yell at my youngest son because I think he was like 6 when we got him. And he, like, my dog would run over to him and like push him into his bedroom when he didn't listen to me. And at first, like, we would laugh about it. And I was like, oh no, I think he's like trying to tell him what to do. So I had to like start like shutting stuff down. And then he started like stepping on my son. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right. And
It's
that's a bad thing.
a bad
That
thing, man.
that's
Yeah.
like
Jumping
beyond
up on you and all
no,
those
no,
little. Yeah.
literally stepping on him like, dude, you belong beneath me. So I had to
Oh
tell my
yeah.
boys cues, and I'm like, when he's doing this, you better move. When he's doing that, you better this, that, and the other. And to this day, my 14-year-old, if my dog like looks at him like this and opens his mouth, he's not to bite him, but he'll open
Yeah.
his mouth because he knows like David doesn't like that. So if I open my mouth, he'll get off me because kids act like the dogs are not human. He'll be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
squeeze him and all that, but when he's ready, he looks over and opens his mouth, and David's like, all right, I'm done, sorry. But like there's so many things like I realized because he knocked me down like 3 times ever.
Mhm.
But this was when he was still like he was a big puppy, but he was a puppy. And
Yeah.
I was like, he was like 55 pounds. And I was like, oh my gosh, if
Heavy
he can
dog.
knock me down like that, then I
At
gotta get
55,
control.
right? 55 pounds.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now he's 92 pounds. So if he wants to do what he's gonna do, he's gonna do it. So I knew from then I was like tight. Whatever it is, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't be in the bed, you can't like whatever it is. And people when
Mhm.
they come in, I'm like, don't talk to him, don't make eye contact. And they
You know
think
what?
that's weird, but
No,
it keeps them in line.
he's your dog.
Yeah,
And you have that dog for two reasons. To what? To protect you.
yeah.
Most important that you get a dog. We know it's good to have a dog. It's going to protect us, but also to be there for stress because dogs just are amazing for therapy for as human beings because dogs are just they're such social creatures
Oh
and
yeah, he's ridiculous.
they understand they live and thrive in a pack, right? We know how dogs are, so they understand hierarchy, who's the alpha, who's the beta. So as long as the thing about a dog is working at that shelter, I got to really work with a lot of dog trainers and understand and really understand that it's not really that dogs need to be trained, it's people that need to be trained because
Yeah.
when a dog bites, when a dog is out of
Oh, they
control.
let you know.
Yeah,
Before they act up, they let you know. You just
yeah,
have to pay
yeah.
attention and
You as a
learn what.
human being, you need to know the cue because all dogs are the same. They all act the same unless if you watch a dog in a pack, everybody knows their place because you have that alpha.
Yeah.
There is
And
structure.
they even move around sometimes. They'll switch alphas too.
Yeah,
Because they
for sure.
understand that you need a give and take. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure, right? There's just a structure there. So what happens is we bring a dog in, or an animal in, specifically a dog, into our home, and it's like, oh, they're the cutest thing ever. They're just fluff and stuff, right? We love them, right? And but they never learn boundary structure. So they think
Right.
they're at our level. And it's not, and the unfortunate thing is we sort of some humans that think, oh no, this is my fur baby.
No, that's the worst thing you can
do.
do.
Yeah, no. That's your. I understand you love the dog, but the dog is a dog, and as long as they understand they are a dog and you are not, you are the alpha, that will be the best dog ever. But yeah, we as humans, a lot of the times, whenever there was some sort of dog training they would have dog training at the shelter. It was usually training the humans. It was never correcting the dog. It was always correcting the human. Like, no, you're holding the leash wrong. No.
Oh even that.
You need to look at the dog this way. Don't do this. Don't do that. They're telling the human. I'm sitting there watching, like, okay. Obviously, there's a pattern here. So I think most of the time it's a people problem more than a dog problem. But not, there are dogs obviously that have issues, but 9 times out of 10, it's all about where they came from. They grew up from some human being that never really taught them structure. You're going to have a problem on your hand, right? For 100%.
Yeah, I shut it down all the time. I shut other people's dogs down too. My sister's here with her 2 dogs, and she's nice and everything like that. And, she's done what she's done, but I have way stricter rules. So we're keeping the dogs apart. And her one dog was like jumping, and we let him off the leash so he could run around. And this was like a couple hours ago, and he was running like a psycho, and he like blasted the other dog, like slammed, and the other dog's 14 years old. He did that crap on purpose. And I was like, and I don't really yell, and I yelled at him. He was like, whoa. I was expecting. And then you know what he did? He went right next to my son and walked right in heel. And he's not even like a heel dog. Like, he doesn't even know what that means.
Yeah.
My dog, he walks in heel. He's on your left side because I have a cane. So he's my service dog as well. So I have my cane in my right hand, and I hold him in my left hand, and he has to stay on the left side. I'll let him loose and whatever, but when we say heel, he knows what that means. He knows what side he's supposed to be on. And if someone puts him on the wrong side, he'll move over there. But Richard Hudman wants to know what kind of dog I have. I'm going to show you because he's really cute. He's a big boy, though. He's an American Staffordshire Terrier. And this is what he looks like. It's slowly moving. That's him.
I'd absolutely just stop, and I would stop. I'm like, okay, what's up, dog?
Everybody used to pull over when we lived in the city. They used to pull over, especially men.
Pretty.
Do you want to? Yeah, your dog is so pretty. Do you want to mate him? I'm like, dude, they took his business before we even could do anything.
Kind of looks like a blue heeler right here. I mean, that's like a hunting dog, but
he's a hunting dog, but no, he's thicker. Like, if you see him next to someone or something, his paws are huge, his head is huge. He's like a heeler's like a
one thing that the people in the shelter would tell us that pit bulls are the worst guard dogs because they love people.
Well, no, it depends.
Well, unless they're trained, right? Unless
we didn't train them to do that. Pit bulls are, first of all, to dogs as black is to human, right? So you see how Pride looks, but he's black, and how I look and I'm black. It's just it's a generalization.
Yeah, he likes lava cakes, you like cookies. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not like
the same thing.
Like our race. Like, I don't know. Let's say he's Jamaican and I'm.
Oh, gotcha. Got it. Yeah.
Whatever I am. Like, because I'm mixed, but so there's different kinds of pit bulls. But there's an American Pit Bull Terrier, that's their breed, and King Leo's breed is American Staffordshire Terrier. There's other ones too. So you can't there's some things that they do that are similar, that are generally like, a bunch of stuff that black people do, but whatever. It's not always the same. His personality is like that. So I wanted to put him in like classes for like protection. Even with protection dogs, you still have to like watch how they are as puppies, because some of them are just scaredy cats, and they don't make good protection dogs. Doesn't matter what you do. That's just their temperament. It's just like humans. So this guy, nobody had to teach him. I've told him before. I'm like, dude, that's not your job. And he's like, no, I'm a working dog. This is my job. So, but you know,
Yeah.
I've trained him to calm down and to turn it off. But then sometimes, you know, he's just ready. So if you let him know
Mhm.
like something's gonna happen, he's all right with it. But if you don't, then he's
Yeah.
sitting on ready. Like that's just how he is. But my sister's got a pit bull. Hers is an American pit bull terrier. He's like the thinner one.
Mhm.
Scared of everything. I took him down the stairs. He started crawling. I'm like, what is this dog doing?
He's like
She said
crawling
he's
like
scared of the stairs, literally crawling. I'm like,
scared.
yo, I don't know. It's wild. It is
And
wild.
a scared dog is a dangerous dog, you know.
Yes. So mine, he's scared. But his fear, he's just like, okay, I don't know what this dog's gonna do. I don't know what this
Yeah,
animal, this
well,
person.
that's a
I'd
natural
rather just
fear.
kill
Right,
it.
right, right, right,
Yeah, he's like, I'd
right,
rather
right.
just kill it. I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll see what. I don't want to know what it's gonna do.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna stop the threat. That's kind of what we're talking, you know, stop
yes,
the
that's
threat.
exactly what he
Yeah.
does. But I'm fine with that because it's helped me out. You know, especially like Dano wasn't there. I could walk him 3 o'clock in the morning, and psh, you know, everybody. You know, how you said you smile at people,
Mhm.
dude. The whole sea parted for me. I loved it. Get out. At first, I used to feel bad because he looked like, you know, he wanted to see people and whatever. And then I was like, you know what? I don't even care. Just beat it. Get off my sidewalk. I
That's
didn't say that
right.
out
That's
loud
right.
because that's rude.
G-
But
Yeah. Yeah, get off, right? I like Jason Hughes's comment. He says that, or is it Juan Martinez?
no, it's
Uh,
Jason Hughes. That is, I wonder who that is because my
well,
friend's husband's name is Jason Hughes, but he doesn't go by Jason. That's wild. Anyway, he's an American Staffordshire Terrier.
I like Juan Martinez. The comment right above him, Doberman. So Dobermans are to me the most ferocious freaking animal ever. I mean, they
They
are.
just look like it.
Yeah, they're considered man killers, sort of German shepherds, but they are. Man, that's cool that you were able to have two Dobermans, like full grown, not the minis. I would imagine they're
Yeah.
beautiful animals, right?
No
But
one
they
cares
rate.
about the minis.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but yeah, they're amazing dogs, man. They're beautiful animals, and they're loyal to a fault, and they make amazing guard dogs. I mean, because they will kill you. I mean, they don't mess
Yeah.
around, and they're powerful dogs, right? Their snout, man.
Yeah,
That's
they're thin but powerful. Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
My uncle
and
has a Rottie. We're
yeah,
into it. Yeah.
Rots are very powerful dogs. My mom, she has a German Shepherd who we made into a service dog, and I bought my
Hmm.
mom recently a standard poodle, which is the very not the
Oh,
miniature
the big
poodle,
one.
the big one, yeah. And she loves her Shepherd, which was I think was a gift, purebred German Shepherd. He is
Too
the
much
most
fur for me.
yeah, he is the
I would
most
die.
amazing. Like he is by my mom's side every second of the day.
Yeah.
And then the standard poodle is just, she prances. It's funny because
Yes.
she's all there, she's for show, but she loves them
Yeah.
both, right? But my mom absolutely loves animals. Those are her babies, unfortunately, or I would say unfortunately, but fortunately, because I say unfortunately
But
because
you're grown now.
yeah,
She
because
needs babies
they
still.
get more attention than I do, but whatever. It's
Yeah,
all good.
no,
For my
I
mom.
totally get it. I love animals too, but I'm so allergic to so many of them. But, you know, I still like to like, you know, be nice to them and stuff. I'm always
Yeah,
like looking out for them. But let's get back to some of these
sure.
questions. So I know you're like a big Bitcoin guy. Was that the first crypto that you got into?
The very first crypto that I actually bought was Cardano. I,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so Cardano was the very first one that I bought. I probably bought about $1,000 worth, and it was probably 3 to 5 cents.
Hmm.
And I was like, the first time I got into crypto, I bought it, forgot about it, and then it went up to like 11 cents, and then I think it went as high as 55 cents, and I was like, oh man, I was like, well, that's great. But then I was looking at the same time I had learned we were already paying attention to Bitcoin. And I'm like, how come it's not doing what Bitcoin did? How come it's not $200 or $1,000, right? Um, so I kind of lost interest. I was like, I bought it. It was, I think for Cardano, that was the one that kind of introduced me to the whole process, creating a wallet, buying it, transferring and all that stuff, sending to a wallet. But when I got into Bitcoin is when I really made the conscious decision, never again. Like, and
Never
everybody knows
again
this.
what?
Well, because a buddy of mine was like, hey man, let's buy some Bitcoin, and it was just $9, $8, $9. Let's buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin each. It was a little bit more, but I say 1,000. It was a lot more, but I would say maybe 2,000 each. He goes, let's just throw $1,000 at it each. And at this time, I was doing my, new and raising a family. My girls were babies. I didn't have $1,000. It's a lot of money to a lot of people. It is to me too. Don't get me wrong. Um,
Yeah.
But to just throw it at something that I have absolutely no faith in, I don't even know anything about it. Like it's like I don't got $1,000 just to throw it, throw on something that we don't know what it's going to do. And so he took he took 1,000 that I was going to throw in plus this. So he put like I think he probably put ultimately like 3K in. Okay. So he took $3,000, just under $3,000, bought some Bitcoin, and a few years pass. Okay. 2-3 years. And all of a sudden he sends me a screenshot. He sends me an image, on my phone, and it's a picture of his wallet. And he's got damn near $1 million in there. Right.
Oh
And
wow.
I'm like, yeah, it's like 700K around there. But I was like, what? I was like, what is that? He's like, what is that? What are you talking about? I go, what is that? He goes, bro, you should have bought in. I go, look at my wallet.
Oh
Look.
no.
And I was like, what? So I was really kicking myself because around that
Yeah.
time, my business was doing well. I was very cash. I would say I was all about cash flow, because as I'm servicing these businesses, I got cash flow coming in, but I was really cash dependent, to pay the bills and everything. So
Yeah.
$1 million would have really changed
Of
my life.
course.
I've had millions of dollars flow through my business, but to
But it's
actually
not liquid, it's a little different.
right to
Mhm.
capture it, right, actual profit, I got to pay bills, pay employees,
Yeah.
pay myself and all these things. So,
Yeah.
but it's different, right? So, you could say we make $100 million a year, but it's different when are you actually captured? I mean, is that in
Right.
the
Are you
bank, right?
seeing any of that? Can you
Right,
use it? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so he bought it. He showed me about just over 700K. And I was like, damn, I was just beside myself. I was like, damn, I mean, that could have really helped me out.
Hmm.
And he ends up selling most of it, buys a Lamborghini. Um, I don't know. I don't even think he paid off his house. He went and bought a car
What the
with it.
heck?
Yeah. So bought a Rolex, bought a Lamborghini. So that's why when people talk, win Lambo, I'm like, hell no,
No.
because he did that. Okay. But
Yeah.
and about that time, Bitcoin was just over 20K around that time, and it was climbing. So then when it went to 60K, I reached out to him. Well, actually, when that happened, I immediately started buying Bitcoin. Okay.
Yeah.
I was putting about as much as I could, $5, $10, $1,000, whatever I could muster weekly into Bitcoin. Ever since then, I've been doing that.
And how long ago was that?
2013.
Okay.
Right. So since 2013, I've been putting it's been as small as $1, as high as $1,000 a week. Okay.
Right. Whatever you can.
Whatever it varies. Right. Since
Mhm.
then. Okay. And so I've been doing that. And then when it went to 60K, I still wasn't even close to where he was at, obviously. But I remember reaching out to him, saying, bro, what are you at? 60K, dude? You must be freaking, what are you, $100 million, whatever, $50 million. He's like, nah, man, I sold all my Bitcoin. And I'm like, he had already sent me pictures of his Lambo and his Rolex.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I know that he bought. I'm sure he bought other things. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, man, I sold it off, man. I mean, I was like, why would you do that? And now, because I'm of course I can say that because it's retro. It's kind of like retrospective. Like, dude, come on, why would you do that?
Mhm.
But at the time, I'm dollar cost averaging in, trying to get where he was at. And when it went to 60, I was doing pretty good. I was happy, right? And then it dropped down to about 30. And now it's at about 26, almost just under 30. But I've been buying it ever since. Okay.
Mhm.
And Chris Cruz is still the Bitcoin daddy of all that. I would tell that I
Oh
don't have as
yeah. I
many.
think you
I don't.
mentioned that in the
I don't have as many
comments.
Bitcoin as Chris Cruz. But because I mean I've acquired a lot, and I would sell it, pay debt off, bought some things, move money around. Use it when I need it. But I there he is. but I have a bag that for me it is my stable in a sense.
Right.
And although it is
That's good.
volatile, it's not like the USDC or anything like that. But I have never been out of profit since I've bought in Bitcoin ever. So
Yeah, Dano's all ready to get into that. And
yeah.
I my own Bitcoin story was I remember years ago, I want to say like 15 years ago, maybe around that time, there
Mhm.
was like a couple of documentaries, and I remember seeing these guys in the base, they look like basement nerds, like basement geeks, these pale guys with glasses, skinny,
Yeah.
and just they were like talking about mining and all this stuff.
Worth
And I'm like,
billions, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, well, then no,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, "Dado, we should do this," and he was like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and I just wasn't. I had kids and whatnot. I didn't have
Yeah, yeah, you're
the
living
time
life,
to be
right?
trying to set everything up. I mean, I could do it at night, but I just wasn't sure, and I just let it go because I just thought it was going to be too much, like leaving all these computers plugged in and whatnot.
Oh,
And he didn't really want to do it.
actually mining, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
this
done
was
some
in the
mining,
beginning
yeah.
when nobody knew what
Mhm.
Bitcoin was, and there was these like I don't even know if it was Netflix, but I think so. Because yeah, I think it was like maybe the
There was a
Netflix, and
Netflix
they had the
documentary, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
there
but
was
it
a
was
few
a
documentaries.
long
It
time ago.
was
Like
probably
I'm
yeah.
just not sure. So yeah, it was pretty crazy, and I remember just thinking about that, and like now it's like I could still mine, but it's a
Yeah,
lot, and
it
it's
is a lot.
expensive, and
I've got a client that is like he built a rig. He built a rig a couple of years ago. You're not gonna. I mean, mining is great, but
hmm
you're gonna make some money, but you're not gonna. It's not gonna be what it used to be. Now the halving is
no,
coming
no,
around, and Daniel talks about it all the time. I mean, the community talks about it,
yeah,
understandingly, it's all about reputation. If you're gonna be mining, you've got to make sure that you can handle the storm because when there's power outages and you got to understand there's power consumption, you got to have computing
yeah,
power. It costs money to mine. It really does.
yeah,
And you can go set up a rig at your house, but understandingly, you're going up against data centers. There are
yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars spent on acres of land, 30,
I
40, 50
know
acres.
it's
That's
crazy.
who you're going up against, guys. So
But you
I'm
know
not
what? I'm just like, let me just get my little piece. I'll take the crumbs. You know, we got
Yeah, yeah.
solar
So
panels.
while they're probably mining, hundreds of millions of
Right.
dollars a month, you're probably getting hundreds of dollars a month. Maybe thousands. But
And see, for me, like that would be fine because it's like
yeah,
just
yeah,
enough for
yeah.
me to,
Right, right. Yeah,
take my
it,
vacations or go out with the girls or
and
whatever.
that's the key, Leona, is so that's when we go back to wealth is subjective, right?
Hmm
It's relative. Wealthy to you
Yeah.
is, or I would say relative, but subjective could be different. So for some people, I just want to mine just enough to pay for. I want a vacation every year.
Yeah. Just a little
You
bit
know,
of extras.
and that's the key to success and to building.
Yeah.
And wealth is obviously different for everyone else, all right? But whatever your plan is, especially in crypto, obviously everybody wants to get the moonshot and make $1 million. Who doesn't, right?
No,
I mean, it's
I
that.
will be honest. There are some people who know they're not going to be good there. And they're like, no, I can't have $1 million. I only want like 100,000 and that's it.
Wisdom. That I just want to pay the house off and then I'll be
Yeah.
happy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wisdom, right? That's definitely
Well, that's
wisdom.
for them.
That's
I'll
actually
take the million.
yeah, I'll take the million too for sure. It's one thing to have to say, "Oh, I want to make $1 million," but it's what are you going to do when you get it? So as long as you have a
Yeah.
plan, you should
Definitely a
always
plan.
everyone should have a plan in both. As running a business and running my business finances and then my personal finances, they mirror each other. So I have a plan for both, right? So it's one thing to say, all right, so I want to make $1 million, but there's a couple of questions to ask. Well, first, how are you going to make it? And
Mhm.
then what are you going to do when you get it?
Right.
Because money is finite. And what that means,
Yeah.
it moves. It has to move. If it's not moving, it's not doing you any good. You either
Right.
need to spend it or you need to make it. It just sitting there, it does nothing. It doesn't do anything. So because it's finite, you have to have, you hear me say it all the time, on paper, on purpose, every penny has a name, every dollar has a name, right? So as long as you've got a plan, if you're going to mine, as long as you're planning, I'm just going to mine enough to do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if you hit that goal, that's it. You're happy, right? And
Yeah.
that's where happiness comes from. It's like
Well,
money
no,
doesn't.
I'm a decided happy person.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
for
even better.
sure.
For sure. Yeah, that's even
Yeah.
better. It's like you don't need this to be happy. I'm
I'm
happy
happy
already.
with it.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
Yes. I
With
hear what you're
it
saying.
or without it, right?
Right. Yep.
Because money only amplifies.
Whatever you got going on, whatever you
If you're an
feel.
asshole, you're gonna be a very rich asshole. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is. Money doesn't
Yeah.
solve any problems, and one of the things that money does, one of the things that I've learned about money is, it's up there with oxygen. You kind of need it to survive. So once you understand that you need it, then you
Yeah.
can accept the fact that you need to make it. So
No,
what?
you take it. We don't make money. We take money.
Well, there it is. We take money for sure. Yeah, that's actually
Yep.
another way of looking at it. We take it from
Yep.
somebody, right?
Yeah.
because someone's got it, so we got to take it. Yep,
Yes.
yep, that's right. You're exactly right about that. Yep,
Yeah, and when you think of it that way, it's like, okay, are you snatching it or are you giving something in return?
that's right.
Because that helps
You're either giving or taking, right?
yeah, so you can take it, but you can take it nicely and you can give someone something in return for what you
That's
just
right.
took from them. But there's some people who just like they're just out there just snatching, snatching,
Yeah, yeah,
snatching. And that's
yep,
bad because either way you're gonna take the money, but are you gonna give someone something in return? And that is important. That's it. You gotta think about that stuff, the
yeah,
mindset.
yep,
When you're making money, taking money, whatever you want to call it, yeah, for sure. Because
yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah, yeah,
people
for
out there
sure.
that love money. It's tough.
They love money more than they love people, and those are the ones that actually
That's
hurt
the
people,
root.
right?
That's the
Yeah,
root of all evil. People will
yeah.
say money's the root. It's not. It's
No,
the
no,
love of money.
it's the love
Listen,
of money.
we need money. There's always been a currency, whatever it was. If it was
Mhm.
bartering something else, became gold, whatever it was. There's always been money. That we need a currency for something, but you gotta have things in perspective, and
Yeah, I believe that governments that realize that currency is to me is a facade, right? Like money, gold, commodities. The
yeah,
greatest commodity on planet Earth is people, because if people stop, like every person in the world tomorrow decides not to go to work,
it's
you
shut
will
down.
yeah, you will see the world. You will realize exactly what actually has value, not the
Yeah,
money, but the people. You are more
people in that
valuable.
time.
Yep. You are more valuable than any dollar. Once you understand and I say, I think I try to say this as often as I can, that, whenever, if I'm going to commit to anything, it's going to cost me some life energy. We are all
Yeah,
given a certain amount of hours in our life for our lifetime, right? Million
yeah,
hours, 1,000 hours. We don't know what our bank is full with. A baby could be born and they're only going to be given 1,000 hours of life. What are they,
yeah,
or 1,000,000 hours? You don't know, right? You
yeah.
don't
You just
know,
never know.
So yeah, once you understand that I'm actually running on a clock here, what are you going to do with your life energy? Is my life energy that I can never get back, is it worth the dollar that I'm giving it up for? You know,
Right.
but the most important thing in life is relationships, is people,
Hmm.
the people you surround yourself with, because those are the things that I believe truly, that you leave with whatever legacy. You can say, "Oh, I left $100 million to my kids," but are
But
my
do they
kids?
even know you?
Yeah, but are my kids taking that $100 million and actually making people, or I would say contributing to society, right? And
Yeah,
making
yeah. I'm all about charity and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, are they actually contributing and helping others and those types of
Hmm.
things?
Yeah.
One of the things I love about, at least America, is we give so much money to other countries in the world, right? Um,
Sometimes I like it.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes.
we give, and I'm talking about churches, right? Like a
Yeah.
church, like the churches I've been a part of. Oh my God, we've given hundreds of millions of dollars, in the last 30
Yeah, we have
years. And
several charities around the world
yeah,
that
yeah, and
yeah.
I'm not talking about the involuntary tax.
Right, right. That's
No,
what
well,
I was thinking of. I was
it's
like, what
not
the heck?
really involuntary. Try not paying it. I mean, it's like, if
Yeah.
you don't pay it, they show up with a gun and take it from you. So I'm talking
You and the
about real.
guns.
I'm talking about real charity, or you're like,
Yes, yeah, I
what?
agree.
I don't have to give this. I want to give this, and I
Mhm.
absolutely love people at the end of the day. I believe in humanity. I do see the good in people, but I also understand that where there is good, there is evil. I am not ignorant to that fact. So I always inspect what I expect, trust but verify. I try to do right and fear no man. I mean, all these things really play into how my day goes out from sun up to sundown, because there's always someone out there that's trying to rip someone off, at the end of the day.
Yeah, no,
You know.
that's true. But about families, I remember, like you mentioned, your family a while ago about Seifu and how Seifu changed their lives.
Mhm.
What happened with that, and where are they from?
Mm. So that is from the Cambodian, um,
Okay.
actually Thailand. So
Oh wow.
around that area, I don't want to give too much detail.
Hmm.
Cambodia, it's a mix. It's a hybrid of Cambodia and Thailand, in that region. But yeah, they actually bought into Seifu. They put in their life savings.
Hmm.
And it's a husband and a wife and some kids. And remember, I explained to you my history with my ex-wife and her family, right? So I'm
Right,
very
right.
close. I grew up around, a lot of Asians. When my dad finally decided to, okay, we're not moving anymore. It was in a community with with mainly Vietnamese, and
Okay.
Cambodians, yeah, and Filipino. So that's kind of the gist of when I was obviously, forming into the man that I was going to be, but when I really got to test those principles, it was
Hmm.
around a bunch of Asians, and I learned
Yeah.
I learned completely that our cultures are completely different. I learned what it was, what real hard work. I wouldn't say real hard work is, but I really learned what what a family does for for the greater good. In fact, like
Right.
my,
They're very
the
close knit. It's
the
like,
immigrant mentality that I try to speak of as often as I can. I'll never forget most of the businesses that I frequented when I was a young man. They were mainly businesses owned by Asians, and it was you always saw the husband and the wife, the mom and
and then
dad,
there's kids in there.
the kids
Sometimes
in
a
there. They're
cat.
running the
Yeah.
business. You know what
Yeah.
happens? They're running the business, and they save up enough money to buy another business to give to one of the
Yeah.
kids, and then
Yeah.
they rinse and repeat. Before you know it, they own 5 to 10 businesses. Everybody
Yeah.
has their own store, and
Yeah. They work together.
they're
Yeah.
all worth millions. Yeah, and then it's just a mentality that we can't.
Mentality is very different. Here it's
Very
like
different. Yeah.
separate. So I hate the concept of the nuclear family, but I won't get into that now.
Yeah, yeah. All right. No, I got you. I got you. No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying. So to the family that actually benefited from the first run of Seifu,
Hmm.
they bought into it. They put whatever their life savings was. I won't go into
Right.
that, but
Yeah.
they were able to cash out several $100,000. Okay, just north of 200,000. And if you know where they're from and you understand their economy,
Hmm.
they were able to pay off. They were basically able what they made in a year, relative to that over $200,000 was 20 years worth of salary.
That's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
I love stories like that.
Based on their income. I mean, obviously there's different levels of income. I mean,
Oh
they
yeah, of
weren't
course. Like here, that's
yeah,
like,
they weren't
yeah.
doctors, they weren't politicians, they were like
Right.
farmers, okay?
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? So when they're making hundreds of dollars a year and all of a sudden they've got 200K plus sitting in the bank, and how do they get into it? Well, it had a lot to do with me. They knew that I was getting into
Yeah.
Seifu, and
And
so
they
they
just trusted you? Did you have to like, was it a little
I
back
mean,
and
it was
forth?
like, hey guys, I'm getting into this project. Well, because there was a guy named RJ that was in Seifu, and he was Asian, right? So obviously,
Yeah.
I'm married to the family, right? Well, I used to be married to the family at the time. That was my ex-in-laws,
Hmm.
friends of family. So obviously, they know who I am. I talk to them all the
Yeah.
time. We do FaceTimes all the time. I'm talking to them all the time overseas. But and on Facebook and all these things, but they see the community that I'm a part of, which is the RJ was one of the first guys that got me into Seifu. He's Filipino, he's Asian,
Hmm.
and I was like, hey, you guys need to go check out RJ. They see RJ, an Asian guy. Well, Asians trust Asians the most for
Yeah,
most,
they
and
do.
you know what I mean. And he's very smart guy, and he was actually showing his wallets, and he's showing his profits. He's showing his wallets he's showing his actual wallet in Seifu.
Like
He's
how
well
much
over
is in there and everything?
yeah, he had over
Wow.
100 grand. Yeah, so they had already got into it because of me, and they kept buying in, and then all of a sudden I'm introducing them. It's all about the same time within the same
Mhm.
with the same time period. They're seeing RJ, they're hearing me, and they were like, they made enough money to cash out, and it wasn't like they cashed out 250K. Okay, like guys, you're gonna go
They
look.
can do whatever they want. Yeah.
But it wasn't like one sell. Okay,
Hmm.
they had multiple wallets. Okay,
Oh wow.
because I told them to do that. It wasn't one
Oh,
wallet.
okay. So
Yeah,
you get the
yeah, they had.
strategy.
Yeah. I told them, don't put all your eggs in one basket. They had a bunch of family members doing it. Everybody had a wallet. They were able to muster up well over 250,000 plus dollars, and
That's great.
around that. And anyways, they were able to buy the house they were in, the land that they were on, or whatever farm they were on. They
Hmm.
own that, and their salaries are paid for damn near 20 years. Well, if you think about what does that mean exactly, well, if you're 20 years old, I mean, what, you're going to be 40? What, now you got to work again? No, they were already in their 50s. Okay.
Mm. Oh,
So
so they're
20,
set. Pretty
yes.
much set for
So
life.
they're set through their 70s, and their kids
Yeah.
are set. They own,
Yeah.
now that they're working their farm, whatever they're
Yeah, they can
doing out
sell
there.
stuff from the farm. They can eat from the farm. So that's
Right,
gonna,
right.
yeah, that's
Yeah. So,
great.
so, so they became they became the masters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I wish we had that here.
yeah, right. So that
It's
to me, for me, for the Seifu story, that is
yeah,
what I always go back to.
that's great.
Now, obviously, since then till now, things, it's not the same. It's not the same.
No, of
It
course
is
not. I think everything changes.
everything changes, but that I saw that, and I'm like, to them, they're millionaires. It wasn't a
Right.
million bucks, but to them, it was million. To
Yeah.
them, they can live the rest of their lives comfortably,
Of
right?
course, wealth is subjective.
Right. So,
Hmm.
and that's what people need to understand. Was like, where were the millionaires? Well, I mean, to them, they're millionaires. To
Yeah,
me,
because
they
listen,
are.
everybody doesn't need like we're in a pretty big house. I was telling my friend this, and I'm like, listen, big house, big bills, like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the
Oh
amount,
yeah.
because I mean, Danny makes a lot of money,
Mhm. But is
but
it?
it
But it's to
doesn't
pay
seem
that.
like it because you just have to pay so many things, and it's
Mhm.
like,
Oh yeah.
that's part of the reason why I
You
got these little
never
baby
really own
jobs.
your house in America.
Right. I mean, even
You may
if
pay it off, but you're still
paid
paying
off, and then
taxes.
you still got to pay the tax, and the taxes are expensive here. But like that's part of the reason why I got these little baby jobs, because like I don't need to work, but I just felt bad when I'm like, hey, I want to get
Mhm.
this done in the yard. Like last year, I got 4 trees cut. It's
Mhm. Oh
expensive,
yeah, that's
so
thousand
I
bucks
just did some.
plus $1,000 right there, easy. Yeah,
Oh yeah, like
we'll have guys come to my last house. I was like, I need to trim some trees. It's about 6K.
yeah, I was
What?
gonna say like 1,000 per tree. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous. So
exactly.
I
So I'm
just
like, I'll
figured
do
out,
it
I'm like, all right,
myself.
this is how many jobs I need to do
Yeah.
to work, to get this paid, and then that one, and then like for when I want to go somewhere, whatever it is. Like I just feel like, oh, I like to have parties, and I could just be like, hey Dano, blah blah blah, or I could just be like, hey Dano, we're having a party, and I just pay for the crap, and he shows up. Sometimes he's got to cook on
Yeah.
the grill, but sometimes
He
no.
brings the
But it's just
cheeseburgers, right?
easier. Yeah, and I'm the sous chef, so he needs the
Uh,
cheese ready. He needs the spatula. He needs a lot. He's like a bit of a devo of a chef
a
out there on the
Devo.
grill.
I
But
don't think I've ever heard Devo, but if there
yeah,
is,
yeah, that's the male version. Yeah,
if
it's
there is
real.
such a thing,
Yeah,
it's
it's real. It's
Devo.
real, real.
All right. All
But
right.
yeah. So it's pretty crazy, like when you think about all this stuff. But I do like the thought of it, and oh my gosh, when I saw the amount that we got, because I'll just say, like, I don't remember, like it was like six something, 6.95 of the Esco. And then when I saw how
You're
much
talking about last night with
last
the
night,
Esco.
yeah, I was excited. And then when
Yeah.
he said refund, I was like, oh my gosh, why?
Yeah, we were on a live, and we knew that we were going to be in the midst of the Esco launch. When we
Yeah,
did
I
a
was
live.
on you guys' live for a minute until Dano went
Yeah,
on. So yeah, yeah.
and we knew he was going to cover it because we did. I
Mhm.
wasn't invested or anything. I wasn't. Some of the
Right.
guys on the live were,
I
but
think NR was, right?
yeah, NR
Maybe a
and
little bit.
but
And
I wasn't.
Chris?
I wasn't like watching the charts or anything like that. So Terry wasn't, but
Hmm.
so we were just gonna just be lighthearted and talk about whatever. And of course, Esco took over the conversation.
Yeah, it got crazy.
And yeah, so I mean, for some of those that like Rich, I believe Rich Heidemann was one. They had like 74 Esco, I
Yeah,
think.
he got a good
Yeah,
amount.
he was well over $1 million. Well, honestly, the truth is there wasn't enough liquidity in there to make him a millionaire. So,
Yeah.
many will say, "Man, I had $1 million." No, there wasn't enough liquidity in there to make you a millionaire. If everybody started selling, and I mean, if everybody took profit, there's not enough to pass around. I
Right, right,
mean,
right.
and that's just math. However, I mean, it was exciting to see it go up to 16K. I mean, I was like, "Whoa, shit! Okay,
Yeah,
it's
it was
crazy,
tough.
right?" And
Yeah.
Danny did say it's going to go well over. It's going to go 10K plus. And so when it hit 12, 11K, I was like, damn, he's got to shave his head, because he said he would, But
Listen, I'm ready to do it. So if was it Jay Mouse? He said
yeah,
he was. Yeah, if
it
he's
was,
still up for it, I'm ready.
yeah.
Okay.
So it was a lot. It looked to be like a lot of people to make a lot of money, and obviously there was a fiasco, and they're doing
Yeah,
their
they'll handle that all.
yeah
But
they're
just to
doing their
see
thing
the
to fix it.
numbers,
They're doing
and
the
then
thing to
to have
fix
it
it.
just like you're so high, and then just take it away. It
Yeah.
was like,
Oh man.
yeah.
That was probably the most frustrating because there were some people that jumped on our live that were really depending on the money, and it wasn't millions of
Oh,
dollars. It was 50, 60, 70K, and it was like
yeah, whatever it
it's gonna
is,
change my life. Yeah, it's gonna get me out of the situation that I'm in.
Yeah.
This is gonna
And it's
be
nice to have a cushion. Like
yeah. Oh
that's what
yeah.
I mean, that's what I want. I want a
Now
cushion.
it could be worse. We could be saying, you know what, it was nice, but they rugged or something. But we're
Oh
not.
yeah, yeah.
No one's
I
saying
mean,
that, right? We know that's not
right.
happening.
Well,
Uh,
no. So there was
right,
some
right.
drama.
Oh,
Did you
there's
hear about
drama.
Keith the crypto farmer?
No, I
He's
have.
Oh,
What is
he
he?
said that about Brian, that Brian Rugg. So Brian banned him, and
How
that
did
was
he
some
rug?
drama.
He's giving all the isn't he giving all the
You
safety
do a
back?
rug with a refund, with a full refund. That's not a rug,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. I don't understand
You
that.
don't get
Okay.
a do over with a rug.
Right, right. You don't get a do over. So that's my point is
Yeah,
that yeah, it didn't go as planned, great or sucks, but at least everybody gets a second chance. So now if you
yeah,
I
exactly.
you know, I mean, no one really gets the opportunity to say, let me try it again. And I think if you messed
Yeah,
up, there were some routing issues. I know there were some people in our live that were
yes,
trying to route it through Bog Finance, and the routing jack was jacked up. So
yeah.
they were missing out on minutes of trading.
Lots of
But
people did.
right,
Yeah,
but actually, it was good because they don't have to worry about the refund because they still hold their safe food because it never went
yeah,
through.
like Fowler. Fowler's one of
Right,
those
right,
people.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So yeah, Fowler came on last night. He made some very good points, saying that he's just buying the dip now in safe food. So
yeah.
yeah,
There you
so
go.
I believe
Because he
there's
doesn't have
gonna.
to worry about his money being tied up.
That's right, right. So
So
I mean,
yeah,
they're going to give it back. I mean, there's no way Brian's going to come up and say,
yeah.
hey, we're not giving it back, or
No,
it,
but he
they,
said like a week to 2 weeks, and I did read some comments where people were like, "I put my life savings in there," and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
like what are you gonna do?" Like I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
bad, and I understand that you believed in the project, but you can't ever put all of your eggs in
Yeah,
one.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
we could say, hey, man, only invest what you're willing to lose. But if you were willing to lose your life savings, then you were willing to lose your life savings. That's all that says. You know,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
but I guess not, because some
Yeah,
people that they go through
it
that.
shouldn't be lost because my understanding is, as I know today,
No, it's not lost, but like if that's your life savings, now you got 2 weeks where you thought you were gonna have extra, when now you
yeah,
have less.
yeah,
At
yeah,
least
no,
for a week to 2 weeks. So I do get it, but at the same time, like you should have held a little bit. But
yeah,
at least there's a do over, and that's all good.
yeah. So
So
hopefully the do over is certainly a do over, and people still get to make money at this thing. I think
yeah,
there's still
yeah,
money to be made.
yeah, for sure.
I was really looking forward to the arbitrage trading. I was going to wait to get in
Hmm.
after it went up. People sold, and then I was
Yeah,
going to buy in. I would
yeah.
eventually be
Well,
like, oh, okay, the
looks like
drama's
it's
gone.
working out for you.
Yeah, yeah, like everybody's okay. People made money. We got millionaires. We got people paying off bills. Whatever it is,
Yeah,
1 or 2 millionaires. Whatever it is, whatever the story would have been, I would have been cool. I would have loved the marketing in that regard because it would have been like, wow, Brian said he was going to do this. People made money. It would have been good for Vulcan. And
yeah,
that's what I've been
yeah,
saying, that this was a great marketing campaign for Vulcan at the end of the day, because you guys know
yeah,
that I have I have 2 projects that I want to launch, one of them specifically on Vulcan. And so I want Vulcan to be successful. You
yeah, for
know,
sure, for sure.
I hold the node, and I'm ready for Gamma, and hopefully we get it in the next, couple days, hopefully the next few hours, because we were told that it would be
Didn't they say it
24.
was hours away?
Yeah, but I think with ESCO, I think they don't want to be overshadowed by what's going on with ESCO, which is smart. So if they want to delay it a couple of days or a day,
Ah,
it
I
makes
don't want to
sense.
delay.
I don't want to delay either, but I understand why
I
they
get it.
would.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because it's overshadowed, right? It's overshadowed. But and that is what it is. As long as it's not delayed a freaking month, then we're gonna have a problem. I'm like, well, dude,
yeah,
come on,
yeah.
because
Ridiculous.
I've got devs that I need to put to work, right?
Yeah,
And they're available. They've been waiting on me to make them to put some work to them, so that because they're available. What happens when they go Gamma? Now they're like, bro, I'm gonna need some time. I'm not available right now. It's just, I mean, they're not gonna wait on me, or they're not gonna wait on our team. Is my point. So
yeah. No, I hear you.
that's where we're waiting on that Gamma to release, so we can put them to work.
All right. So Biz Entertainment says all safe food will be returned. The only thing anyone can complain or can I keep trying to say complain. I'm sorry, guys. That's a Freudian slip. Can claim to have lost with some chain for gas. Yeah. So the gas fees, you guys will probably not be, refunded that,
So
because that has nothing to do with Seifu and Seifu Go.
that's a question that I have, and maybe Prado can answer it in the morning. Maybe you can answer it. So if I had $1,000 worth of Seifu, because at the time, let's say it was when did the contract go live? When Seifu was about $1.80 or something like that.
I think
Whatever.
a little bit more. Yeah.
Let's say it was $2. So at the time of sacrifice, I sacrificed $1,000 worth of Seifu. Okay. So I know that I put 1,000. Obviously, there's no tax because there was supposed to be no tax. I believe during a swap.
I think they said no taxes. Yeah.
Right. So I should have gotten $1,000 worth of ESCO. You know, it wasn't 1-to-1, but it was not as far as the number of escrow, but the dollar amount should have been the same.
Right. Yeah, I know what you
Right.
mean.
Okay. So now this happened. They're saying, guys, we're going to refund your Seifu. Am I getting the $1,000 worth of Seifu back, or am I getting 1,000 Seifu, or am I getting
No, I
2,000?
think you're getting what you invested. Like it's just like a credit card transaction. Doesn't
So
matter
I'm
what you bought. You're getting
because
what
but
you put
because
in.
say but remember, Seifu, the value of Seifu dropped during this. People started dumping. So if I traded at $2 when Seifu was $2, I'm just using a number, and now they're going to give me a refund, and Seifu is $1.35. Who's going to make up that difference? Who's going to make that 65 difference up? 65
Well, they
cents
have
difference.
it all in like an account. So my understanding is you're just getting back what you put in, besides whatever the fees are that were for bog swap,
Yeah,
pancake swap, whatever that is.
okay.
So I don't think how Seifu's value really matters because they have all that money sitting here.
All that money. Well,
and they're just going to give that back to you. It doesn't change the value.
the liquidity. You're right on that. Where the liquidity was moved over, it was swapped over to the escrow liquidity. But in that interim, while people were swapping, people were dumping Seifu. So the liquidity in actual Seifu itself was dropping because of people dumping Seifu. They weren't even swapping; they were dumping Seifu.
Yeah.
So, you know, so maybe I'm sure they got it all worked out. I mean, but yeah, as long as people get back there, if I put $1,000 worth in, I get $1,000 back. I'm not talking about 1,000 Seifu. I'm talking about dollar amount.
Dollars, yeah.
And then if we do that, then we're good to go, right? 100%, right?
Yeah, refund's a refund. Doesn't matter if you're talking about.
Well, cool. I'm sure they got it all figured out, which would be great. And then for the relaunch, then it should be gravy at that point. Everybody.
Yeah, the bottom line is numbers will move all over the screen, but all that money is somewhere in an account that people put in. We didn't just put in fake stuff. The actual
right.
People get their
liquidity was actually being moved. In fact, if you go to the ESCO account now, they were already moving the liquidity. They already pulled it somewhere.
Right. And Brian said a few things, and Nacho came on Daniel's live last night too. So there were some things I think Brian would know more than obviously Nacho because he's a developer, but. Yeah, I mean, I've been in business, you know, I don't know, I was in sales forever. Like a refund's a refund. You can't really change that. If you're talking about an exchange, that's a whole different thing. God knows what you're going to get back. But they're saying refund, so that means what you put in, you get back. Okay. Obviously, if you get a refund for a product, if there's shipping fees, it's usually minus the shipping fees. So this is going to be like probably minus the gas fees.
Minus the fees, yeah.
Yep, whatever the fees are. Yeah, but
because back to the comment where you had people saying like, well, I put in my life savings. So let's say their life savings was 10 grand. Okay. 10K. And there was $10,000 worth of Seifu. They moved it to ESCO. They're getting the $10,000 at the time when Seifu was worth $10,000, you had 20,000 Seifu. Okay. Let's just say it. So they're going to give you 20,000, but right now Seifu is worth $1.10 or $1.35. Then it wouldn't be relative to the liquidity that's in Seifu right now. That $20,000 Seifu is not going to be worth the $10,000. You hear what I'm saying? Because
I hear what you're saying, but that part doesn't really matter because whatever it is, like your $10,000 is $10,000. Doesn't matter what Seifu is worth. You might get 0.2 Seifu, but you're still your $10,000. So you can wait for
that comment from NR.
Yeah,
Sorry. He says, pretty sure we are okay. So what's up, NR? You still listening to me, bro? Talk. You never let me talk, bro. You never let me talk. He's worse than Prado. Pretty sure we are getting back the exact amount of Seifu back, but not the dollar amount. So that's my concern. But I do know that Seifu's pumping. So I mean, maybe by the time they do the refund, it'll be right back where it was, and maybe it'd be off a few cents. Even $1 is cool, I think. At the end of the day, but as long as it's around that park, I think at ballpark, I think people will be cool with it because you know what they're going to do. They're going to try and do it again. We're going to be ready for the relaunch, right? And that's
they said, but there's different stipulations now. Now it's not a stealth launch. Now they're going to give you the date and the time, and the contract address is already going to be out. So they did say those things were going to be happening.
Okay, good.
So.
I know there is a
stealth
limit.
There's a smaller window. I don't remember what it is, like a half an hour, 15 minutes, 30 minutes.
You're not going to be able to buy as much ESCO. There's going to be some sort of limit, which I think was probably suggested at the beginning. Which
a lot of people were saying it.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
You live and learn.
Yeah, you live and learn. Well, at least we're able to live and learn, and they're able to do a reset. Imagine living and learning and going, I won't get into something like that again unless there's a limit. Now we get to go back and say
No,
there's
I
lemon
mean,
in it.
listen, I would have been all right. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we
yeah,
did pretty well.
yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, you'd have been all right,
But
right?
I hear what you're saying.
You
I
know,
hear what you're
as
saying.
I was watching that price go up because we had it up on our channel, right?
Right.
He said Seifu is pumping. We have 10 to 15 days. I agree with you, NR. I think it's going to be right about where it was. And, you know, at the end of the day, I believe that, let's say it's not. Let's say it gets as high as $1.55. Okay.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, let's say we're on the 14th day and it's only at $1.55. And people are going to start talking, hey, Brian, man, when I swapped, it was $1.99, man. What's up, dude? I'm losing 25 cents here. I think Brian, because he's done it before, he's gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna drop in 25 cents worth of liquidity. You know what I mean? I'm gonna bring it up to
Oh,
where it
yeah, he might.
was. I mean, he's got the deep pockets. He could certainly do that. I
Yeah.
mean,
He
out of
said
the
he
kind,
lost money too.
yeah,
So
yeah. You know, so
I'm
you know,
sure
of
he
course,
helped out.
yeah, he lost 500K where people have lost 10,000. Well, 500K to him is nothing compared to someone losing 10,000.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Relativity.
And what I mean by yeah, it's all relative, right? So, but I think Brian will do the right thing, man. You know, I think he'll not man, but Leona.
Yeah, he
He's
has up until
yeah,
now.
I think he'll do the right thing and be like he'll make it right, you know, and get it to
Yeah.
where it was, and then whatever happens after that happens. You know, if people want to sell whatever, because he's done it before, I'm sure he'll do it again. You know,
Yeah.
he always listens to the community, right? And he tries to make it right. So,
Yeah.
but Brian,
He's a good guy. I
yeah,
know
yeah,
some people complain about him, but
yeah, you know,
to be honest, sometimes the CEO has to be a CEO. Sometimes the CEO has to be a jerk. Sometimes they have to be a bit narcissistic to get it done. Because if they were punks or they were sheep or they were like, you know, I'll just say like, I'm not gonna say that. And people take that wrong. But if they just weren't, you know, as strong or bullheaded as they were, these kinds of people, they just wouldn't get it done. They'd
things
be
wouldn't
waiting for
get
somebody
yeah,
else to do it.
yeah. That's right.
You
That's
gotta do what
right.
you gotta do. Like
I
sometimes with
agree with
Dano,
you.
it's like that. And I'm like, calm down. But you know, he's gotta do certain things, certain ways to get it done. Because who else is gonna do it?
Yeah, and then that's why he and I butt heads because I'm exactly the same way.
Yeah,
I'm just on Central Time. He's on CPT time.
that's
That's
the
the
problem.
difference.
It's because if you were in the East Coast, you guys would be besties.
Yeah,
But
probably
it's
would. Yeah, probably
Central.
would.
Central ruined you guys'
Well,
relationship.
I don't know, man. You know what? Because what's gonna happen is we're gonna go have coffee. He's gonna try and put sweet low in my coffee. I'm gonna get pissed off.
Whoa, no, we don't do sweet and low. That's
I'll
like
just,
people in
I'll
their
just,
80s.
I'm just joking. He does I know he does sugar, right? He does whatever
Well,
he
he
does.
switched to sugar because he was doing equal. Was it equal? No, what's the yellow package?
Oh, is there a yellow package? There's blue,
Yes.
pink, and yellow.
Yeah, blue is equal and pink is sweet and low. And the yellow one, you know it. We all know it. Okay, so
Yeah,
whatever the yellow one is, he was doing that. And I'm like, there's bleach in that. And he's like, no, 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 because I research everything.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's probably like 10, I don't know, maybe 5 to
Freaking
10 years.
sugar is it's processed. You know what I mean? It's
It
not
is, but he is using natural sugar. But now
yeah.
he just went like, I don't know, the past week where he's not using no sugar anymore, just like heavy cream or light cream, whatever the heck. I'm dairy free. But so yeah,
That's
he
good. That's
does
good.
that. And it's crazy. So I'm just like, all right, you know, it's cool.
Well,
But he was doing that
it
before.
sounds like he's ultimately going to be a straight black coffee like real men, you know, and he's gonna get over the bitterness and he's gonna realize this shit's good. You know, I drink straight black coffee straight up, or I drink an espresso, you know, whenever I need
Yeah.
it. And it cuts to the chase, gets to the point, gets it done.
I
Because
like the Cuban coffees, the cortaditos. Those
yeah,
are banging.
good. Yeah, I like Vietnamese
Yeah.
coffee. I like me some Cuban coffee is pretty good. But if you drink a coffee, remember anything you put in your body has to be for a reason. You know, if you're
Yeah.
putting, it's supposed to be it's supposed to be some
Splenda.
sort of
That's the one.
Splenda.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Of course, in our no Splenda. You know, bro, your eyes are like Splenda, bro. They're all.
Oh gosh.
He's gonna hate me for that one, man. But
Yeah.
no, but yeah, I drink coffee. I didn't start drinking coffee until I was like 37, 38. Honestly, I never drink coffee. Ever.
No, I had it when I was a baby. I literally have a scar right here from like pulling it down with I had like pajamas on, like feety pajamas. So
Oh, really?
anyway, yeah, because my mom would give it to me and she didn't give it to me fast enough. So I was like, what the heck? And I just grabbed it and I was one. And I still have the
gosh.
burn because
Oh,
it was in
man.
she had to like rip my pajamas off because it was like burning.
it's
So I still
burning
have
you?
it right there. Yeah,
Especially when
like
you're
feety pajamas.
well, when you're a baby, your skin's so sensitive.
Very
you know? So,
sensitive,
It doesn't
yeah.
take much. It doesn't take much to scar.
Yeah, I still have that crap. But I was addicted and then I got older, I got like kidney problems, so I can't have caffeine now. But so I know you are like really heavy in that. I learned about you from the TCL community. Is that, did you get into Safe Food before the TCL thing? Like, how'd you meet TCL? We met him in Dubai,
Yeah.
but I didn't know who he was before that. He's a great guy, very nice, very helpful, and genuine guy. But like, how did you get into his community? How'd you guys meet?
I got into the Safe Food community from, like I said before, it was RJ. So I
Right.
was in the Safe Moon community. That was kind of like
Okay.
my biggest deep my I actually I went from Cardona to Bitcoin. I held Bitcoin. I bought some Ethereum and Litecoin. All these, I was always doing all these forks and stuff, but not really seeing many gains. But it wasn't until when Doge hit the scene
Yeah.
and everybody started talking about Doge. I bought some
Yeah.
Doge. I think I put, if I remember, a couple $100, 300-400 bucks. It went all the way up to 15K. Almost 20, well, just over 26K, I think.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, I was like, whoa, okay, shit. I should have put 3K in this thing. Um, and I remember just scrambling just to buy Doge. I was like, Binance, what the hell is Binance? It's like it's the shit coin chain, so I mean I made some, or not Binance, I'm sorry, Doge, right? Because it's a fork of Bitcoin. I remember I was like, and then I got in, and I'll get into Binance in a second. I bought some Doge and went up to about 30K, 26K ish, about the highest as it went. I say 30K rounded up. And then I was like, oh my God, this is going to go to 100K. Of course, it doesn't. As it started to drop, I finally ultimately cashed out just under 15K or so. So now I had about 15K of just house money. Took my little initial out, $300 or whatever it was. And I'm like, what do I do with this? And then I'm looking. I'm like, this was the start of the meme. I think the meme bubble, in a sense, the meme bull
Okay.
run, where the alternate coins, right? Because all these altcoins were hitting the scene. These, not really meme coins, but altcoins. Safe
Mhm.
Moon was one of them. I jumped into that one. I got in super early, and then that was probably the first time I realized that crypto isn't the problem; the people are the problem.
Oh, so were you looking for a community?
I was looking. I got into the SafeMoon community. It was huge. They had two
Okay.
million. They had 2 million subscribers, 2 million
Oh,
holders at wallets at one time, and they were kind of boasting that. And there was a couple of YouTubers that kind of hit the scene that became pretty famous. They went from zero to nothing. They went from 0 followers to 20K followers. Okay.
right. Well, I mean,
Um,
with 2 million people in the
yeah,
community, of
yeah. Watching
course.
SafeMoon. SafeMoon was like, oh, they're doing this thing called reflections, kind of like rebasing. It's just another
Hmm.
same thing, another name.
Different term. Yeah, different
Yeah,
name.
different term. And it was Safe Moon was actually a fork of another project, and but this time they had a team that was doxed.
Hmm.
Right, they had some developers that were not really doxed, but well known in the community. They had marketing, they had all kinds of, they had influencers, big influencers pushing this thing. So it was like, oh shit, this they had
Was
big.
T Scale in there?
TCO started doing. He was in Safe Moon, but I didn't know of him then yet.
Oh,
He
okay.
would. So he and I were literally going through that roller coaster about the same time.
Ah, maybe with
So
Greek too. Greek was
yeah,
in there before.
and Greek was one of the Greek actually, RJ was one of the Safe Moon guys, Safe
Hmm.
Moon YouTubers. That's who I started following. He was probably one of
Okay.
the first, and then Greek popped up in the scene, and then RJ kind of dropped off and says, "Man, I can't." He just kind of says, "Guys, too much drama, too much fun. I'm gone." Basically, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But Greek kept pushing forward, man. The team's going to do this, the team's going to do that, and then ultimately Greek just he saw the writing on the wall, and
Okay.
I was following Greek, and
Yeah.
I was following RJ, both of them, but RJ I believe, got into Seifu before Greek did, and then RJ
Okay.
kicked over to Seifu, started showing the Brian Legend AMA, showing his
Mhm.
ID and all that, and I was like, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I made
He
some
went all
money.
out.
I made some money with Safe Moon. I lost some money, made some money, but I was never really out of profit.
Okay.
I was always around. My wallet stayed about 20K the whole time. I was pretty happy with that. Took some profit, took some money out, and then I basically cashed out of Safe Moon. I didn't believe it anymore because of all the CEOs buying houses, the CEO buying a house, the developers just making a joke of the community,
Hmm.
making us look like idiots, essentially. I mean, just the way they played us. It was pretty upsetting how that you have damn near 2 million people really believing into this team,
Yeah.
and they turn out to be no different than all the other teams
Mm.
out there. And then RJ started talking about Seifu. Then I entered Seifu. I buy in. I started making some money. I didn't go 20K deep. I went like 1500. I went like
Yeah, to
1500
test
bucks.
the waters
Oh
first.
yeah, I threw 1500 bucks in.
Yeah.
I've never lost money since. You know, I've
Okay.
been in profit the whole way, even all the way up to my node and into the bag that I hold. So because I know when to take profit, I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Take profit. It's super important. You know, always take what you put in to get out and write house money, and then take that and take that arbitrage if you can. But my point is that write up as much as you can. You know, but you got to pay attention. So
Yeah.
so
So then TCL, how'd you meet him?
so in the midst of me being in the middle of Seifu, a guy that I work with mentioned the TCL the Seifu Pulse. I remember catching one of his shows, and
Yeah.
it was about Seifu, and I was like, damn, that guy's pretty amazing at graphics and the motion graphics and the animations. I mean, he had a pretty good presentation. He was
Yeah.
quick, he was short, and he was in and out. But man, I was like, I liked it. I didn't have to listen to a guy talking for 3 hours like myself to get some meat on the bone, right? It was cool.
Yeah.
And it was very, 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 very efficient.
Okay.
And remember, I work in 15-minute increments. So
Right.
so that was like cake for me. I was like, I
Yeah.
love this guy. And then a buddy of mine that I work with was like, hey man, I'm actually part of the TCL Discord. I'm like, you are? No shit. He invited me that same day. That same week I got invited on to do a live with those guys.
Oh
And the rest
wow.
is history. Yeah, the rest is history. So
Okay.
he was like, hey, I got a buddy. He's just bought into Seifu. He loves the Seifu Pulse. Here we go. In my crypto, his name is Crypto Guy, is his name out there. And TCL was just so inviting, man. The whole community is so inviting.
Yeah. He is very nice.
These guys, yeah,
genuine
they're
guy.
very genuine. I mean, there's a lot of clowning that goes on, but man,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I mean, NR and I are close, but TCL and I are just as close. I talked to
Okay.
the guy, he's daily in a sense,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's real. He's opened up his life to me. Like I
Yeah.
get
He's
to,
told us some stuff. Like,
yeah.
I'm
So
shocked.
and that to me tells me he's a guy that's very trusting.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
Yeah.
trusting. He doesn't tell. And
Probably to a
remember,
fault.
yeah, we all can. Yeah, I'm in the same way to some degree, trusting to a fault. But he's shared so much where I was like, man, I like this guy, and he's funny as hell.
Oh my
Funny as
gosh,
hell.
I can't with
Okay,
that laugh.
Prado's funny, but TCL is actually funny on purpose. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a difference, right? There's a clown, and then there's the guy actually works as a clown. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But TCL's funny. Prado's got good comedic timing. I mean, he's funny. He's fun. Prado's funny. I catch his jokes. I see what he says. I laugh all the time.
Yeah.
He makes me laugh. So that's why I tune in. But
But even
TCL,
when lead, because I mean I called him lead, but even when he is not really saying something funny, sometimes you don't even know what he's saying yet, but just his voice, it's about to be funny.
Yeah. He's good at
Yeah.
impressions. Yeah,
And then
he's
his laugh
hilarious.
is great. Yeah.
But the funny thing about TCL, or the great thing about TCL, is he could be extremely funny, and then he gets serious.
Right.
And when he talks serious, the guy just has a wealth of knowledge about
It's not
everything,
surprising.
about crypto, about life, about business, about relationships. The guy is just like, you call me the philosopher. TCL's a philosopher.
Yeah, he's a deep guy. He is.
Yeah, I learned.
And it's
I learned
surprising because he's such a jokester and a laugher. But like
that's
he's definitely very
to me, that's
pensive.
his superpower. He disarms you. He disarms you, and then he edifies you. That to me is an amazing human being. And so I learned a lot. I was able to jump in that community, and I love the community. And the rest is history, And from that, I got to be a part of the entire Seifu community, Vulcan and Seifu, and then now, as a whole, all these communities that there's a lot of forks going on, a lot of projects coming out of it. But we're all part of the same. At the end of the day, we're all from the same. We all have the same DNA of Seifu,
Yeah.
And what is that DNA? It isn't Seifu. The DNA, I believe, what unites us all isn't Seifu. What unites us all is that we all want the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the opportunity to make my own way, and you've got me. And I believe Seifu, and I don't think it was on purpose. I think Brian started Seifu, and he was like, "Whoa, we got something here." Oh my God. I don't think he realized what it was going to be, but he's been
I don't think he realized what.
But I think he's been trying to be a good steward of it along the way, which is good. He knows what he has. You
Yeah.
hear me say it. You hear me say it. I haven't said it all. I haven't said it in a while. They need us more than we need them. And I believe that, Vulcan, Brian Legend, and the team, they know that, so they're trying to do right by us, which is why the refund, and I think he'll make it right if he needs to. I mean, I have no
Yeah.
doubt. I have no doubt, right? So, I am excited about Vulcan. I mean, I want
Yeah, for
Vulcan to
sure.
launch. We all are, guys. We all are. When I said yesterday, I hope people make a lot of money out of the ESCO because I truly believe the community deserves it. We have been on such a freaking roller coaster,
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
let
Yeah.
letdowns and setbacks and letdowns. People need something, you
Hmm.
know. And if Brian Legend doesn't give them something, someone else will. Such is life, such is human nature,
Yeah.
such is the free market, the marketplace. So I believe Brian wants to be the guy that make it happen. So
Yeah,
here,
like according to what he says and what he's done, and I met him and I listened to what he says. Like I don't get all involved like a lot of people do, but I do like that. And Danny's generally a pretty good judge of character. So that leads me to my next question: how did you meet Daniel?
Daniel, I was of course Daniel hit the scene with his Seifu videos, and so obviously, like I, like everybody else, was just was hooked.
Yeah, I thought
Daniel.
you maybe met from like the TCL thing,
No,
or
no. Well, actually, because I was part of the TCL community, obviously, there has been certainly there's no longer a grand communication of sense, between the communities, TCL and the Seifu, obviously for obvious reasons. That goes
right?
without saying. However, I remember I was already watching Daniel's videos, and the guy would make me laugh. Daniel can make me laugh, and if you can make me laugh, I'm gonna pay attention
Right.
because I love to laugh at myself. I never, I mean, I say a lot of serious things, but I never take myself too serious. If you can't laugh at yourself, then you have no damn right to laugh at anybody else. At the end of the day,
I laugh at myself and everybody all the
yeah.
time. You
I
get me
mean,
in the background, and like all the
we talk
time.
about freedom of speech and everything. To me, journalism obviously is supposed to hold governments accountable, and governments expense, is obviously important. You don't want to talk politics, but they control and rule our lives. But comedians, if comedians in comedy in my opinion is the absolute profound way to hold governments and people accountable, because you can make, if a government doesn't tolerate to be made fun of, that is a government you should fear. Okay, so
Yeah, it's part of our culture. Like that's
yeah.
how I grew up.
um,
It's
it's
definitely
Amer-
American. I don't know how it is
it
everywhere,
it's
but
not like
it
that
seems like
everywhere.
it.
You're right. That's exactly right, Leona. It's not like that everywhere. So in America, we're like, well, yeah, we can laugh at the president. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he's going to be famous on SNL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every president is. But whenever a government starts to stop that, not even, and the government doesn't come out and say we can't no longer say these things, it becomes a trickle down where
Yeah,
it
they just
becomes,
shut it. They start shutting it down on
yeah,
lower
yeah.
levels
That's
anymore.
that's when that's when there's
Yeah.
concerns. But back to Daniel. Daniel made me laugh. I was hooked, and then of course I'm watching the whole, the evolution of Seifu and over to Seifu X and
Hmm.
then Vulcan, and then I'm already part of the TCL community. I was real close to these guys. TCL goes over to Dubai, hangs out
Yeah.
with Daniel. Those guys hit it off pretty good. So yeah, so it was almost like a friend of TCL's is a friend of mine, and then
Right.
I got invited onto one of Daniel's shows,
Yeah.
and the rest is history. He and I, and then once he realized that I'm not, I don't bleed blue. He was like, what? He was like, what are you talking about? You're brown. All brown people bleed blue. And I was like, no, bro, we don't, man. He's gonna be pissed that I said that,
Oh,
but
yeah, that's weird because it's a weird thing in his family. A bunch of his family members are Republicans, and a couple of them are not. Like, listen, I'm like you. I'm probably more American than you as far as how long we've been here and stuff like that. And like, I find it strange. Like, I mean, I know his mom's American now, but like, she has an accent. It's thick, and she came here when she was 13. So like for me, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, you're not really American. Like you
oh
bought
no,
into America, but you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like I would never move to another country, live there. I don't care if I live there for 60, 70 years. I'm still going to be the American. and that's just
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
goes. But
Well,
it's like different when you come to America. Everyone feels like you're supposed to assimilate and become American and abandon wherever you're from,
mm,
and it's weird, like, you know. So it's
did
just
did she assimilate, or she still have her roots to Cuba or
no.
Puerto?
They came over here as a way to like get away from Castro. So
Yeah,
she
which
had a
blow
little bit of contact with her parents, but
which blows my mind because I know Prado, you know, I know Daniel, you know, he's Democrat, right? Obviously he,
I
you know,
mean, you know,
well, I mean, from my conversations with him, you know, like,
he's as Democrat as you are Republican. Yeah,
okay, well, that makes a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
sense
yeah,
then. All right, I'm not
yeah,
Republican, so I got you, I got you.
exactly. So you know,
You know, remember, so if you were to ask, well, why are you Kryptonian as a freaking Hispanic American? You know, they'll call me Mexican American. No, bro, no, ma'am. I'm American that happens to be of Mexican descent. I am American first. And what does that mean to me? Um, just that I grew up here. This is my country. I truly believe that a country can only be sovereign from the by the language, the culture, and the borders. If we have one of those, if one of those things fall off, we are no longer sovereign. If you are no longer sovereign, you're not going to last. It's downhill after that. So, what surprised me about talking to Daniel was,
look
you
at
know,
Noah's comment. Who would have thought Kryptonian talked long enough to kill my earbuds?
oh, bro, hey, because hey, and all right, I'm kind of a big deal, bro. I got that from watching you, homie.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah,
told us in the beginning.
he's like, yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. Yeah, I mean, he
Yeah,
didn't
but
say it, but
yeah, American. I feel the same way. Like I don't say African American. I don't unless you're gonna say European American because they'll say Asian American,
yeah,
Hispanic American, blah blah blah.
I
Yeah,
understand why they do it, but you
no,
know,
but they don't do it for Europeans
no, you know why?
because
Because
Africans and natives were here first.
it's all about divisive. It's all about dividing and conquering.
Yes,
So if
exactly. That's why I don't use that term.
that's right, I
Never
don't.
hear them use it.
You know, I never call. I mean, I never call black people. Are you either black or you're white or you're Mexican or you're Asian,
Yeah, I just
either
call people
East or
American.
Western Asian.
If
Yeah,
you
I
want a
don't
little
ever call
extra,
you
I'll give you
African
whatever.
American. I don't call you. I mean, for think you got to think about the logic. If I follow that logic, and you know, I have been told once, who said that I wasn't logical? Oh, that would be Fowler in your interview. I'm actually extremely logical. I actually follow logic in
Yeah,
every in all my walks in my entire walk of life. But if I follow the logic of calling you African American, then I have to. Then what am I? Am I South Mexican American? Am I, you know, am I North American, North Mexican? I mean,
yours is a little confusing though because
exactly. I
it
mean, if
was
you look at
Mexico before America took it.
that too, if you look at
Huh.
Mexico and South America,
Yeah,
am I Venezuelan?
Central
Am I
America.
Honduras? You know what I mean? So the point is
Yeah,
it gets very complicated. So I don't, you know, which part of Africa are you from? You know what I mean? Because you know, in Africa they speak 100 different languages. You know what I
it's a
mean?
continent. Yeah,
Right. So
yeah, yeah.
to me, you're either American, you're Britain. If you're in that country and you're a citizen, that's the country that you know that's where you live. So, but for me,
Yeah, I don't subscribe to that.
yeah, it's very, you know, and I know Daniel doesn't either. I mean, Daniel will
No,
say some
no.
things.
He sounds like what you said. Because he's like, oh, my mom's here, she's American. And I'm like, no, you're first generation American. I'm like, from what I know, I was talking to NR.
Yeah,
I had to stop doing my ancestry search when I found a slave master grandfather and a slave. Like, that's crazy. But I go
wow.
hundreds of years here. Same with you. But mine, I don't have like my part was another country. You know what I'm saying? Like before they bought it. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm probably more American than you, but similar. And I'm
I
Native
got you
American
saying,
as
yeah.
well. But you know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like he's not like that. He's of the mindset of like, okay, you're born in America, you're American. And I'm like, you're, you know, you're first
yeah,
generation American. And
yeah,
then
your
your
first generation.
history's over there. Like my
Yeah.
history isn't anywhere until you go way, way, way. I feel like if you're here for like 500 years or more, you know, I'll just say
Like
I'm
Native
exaggerating, but
American, right? So my dad is from my dad's family is, as I said, they were in the Texas area long
yeah,
before Texas was purchased by the United States.
yeah,
My mom, her family comes from North Texas and Oklahoma, so my mom is half Native American.
yeah.
So I'm a mutt. You know what I mean? I'm not even
Well, no,
purebred.
because that's what Mexicans are. They're
Yeah,
native
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're Spaniards. So it's
Right,
that's just
right.
your whole thing is just mixed the same way that a lot of like Black
Yeah, and
Americans
that's
are.
probably
That's
where
what it is.
back to the very first question, that's where my warrior, I think,
Oh, it's in
mentality,
the blood.
it's in the blood. My mom, is my mom's family is just they just do not quit. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, it's good.
they just keep getting up, and my dad's is more. It's funny. My mom's side of the family is, I would say the yeah the fighters. My
Yeah.
dad's side of the family is let's sit and talk about it. Let's be logical. Let's analyze. My dad it was obviously in the Marines, but he was an engineer draftsman by trade. All
Oh wow.
my uncles were all engineers and draftsmen, and all pipeline and designers and architects and these
So
things.
kind of like NR.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
kind of
right.
like an engineer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And my cousins, all my most of my family on my dad's side have graduated from Rice, and and in college, extremely college educated. They live on the West Coast,
Hmm.
whereas my mom's is all Texas, and they're just like rough, and it just let's just fight.
Workers. Yeah,
Yeah,
fight.
workers. Right.
I'm
So
the kind of person, I'm logical and I want the details and the facts. But then if there's a reason, I'm going to fight.
yeah, I love fights, but I always. With that being said, I choose my battles.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. Oh, of
of
course.
course, yeah.
Yeah.
But I will never back down.
Same.
I'm of the mindset. I may have lost the battle, but I will win the war.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you may think you have defeated me. You've only delayed the inevitable of me winning, defeating you. That's just, and remember what I said, I never go into anything without the mindset of I will be successful. I will.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. It has to happen or I'm wasting my time. And remember, I
I
do
don't like
not
wasting time.
I can't waste time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since you're a girl dad, do you feel like there's more pressure on you to protect your family, like
100%.
as far as like with the guns and everything, you know?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, and yes, I would say yes to all that. So
Okay.
remember when I said that my daughters are, so I have four heartbeats now, right? So I have my
Yeah.
first two daughters. Yeah. So my daughters, my first two daughters, my biological daughters, my first and second heartbeat. The reason I call her my first heartbeat, I was 22, 21 when my first daughter was born. I was very young, and I thought I was a man and had it figured out. I was young, I was invincible.
Yeah.
I thought the world could never ever do any. I'm a man. I'm the world cannot hurt me. The moment I have my daughter, and I'll never forget when she was born and holding her, and I remember crying, and I cried, guys, especially when you hold your baby. And I remember telling her this, that I will do everything in my power to make the world a safer place for you. Because
Oh,
if that
that's
very
tough. That's a
at the
tough promise to
it
keep.
is, and understandingly, and remember, she's my world. So in my world, that she's living in my world at that moment. She's
Yeah.
growing up in my world, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't mean
No, I
geopolitically or
know, but right in the bubble.
yeah, in the
Yeah,
bubble.
yeah,
So
yeah.
at that very moment, I was like, I have to do everything I possibly can for her, to
Hmm.
protect her. I got to make sure that I live up to what a man is supposed to be to make the world a safer place in my community. Because that's the circle of influence that I have.
Yeah.
And so that became basically my lot in life. And then when I had my second daughter, it was to the second power. So
Right. To say even stronger.
so having daughters really just at that point in time, I mean, if I had sons, yes, I'm a man, right? I mean, I got a boys, right? I got boys, but but being having daughters, it really sobered me in a sense where like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
okay, the world is dangerous out here,
Hmm.
and I've got to make sure that I equip my daughters
Hmm.
to be able to the best of their ability, at their level of ability, right? I mean, we're all no
Yeah.
none of us
Like
are
after
invincible.
you can't, they got to be able to do it.
Right, right. So that's been my whole purpose in life,
Hmm.
and I got my daughters to a point where they're adulting now. They're taking care of themselves. They're working. They're tough as nails. They're extremely
Yeah.
logical. They can critically think on their own. Um, they didn't get brainwashed with social media. You know,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not super liberal. They're not super. They're not far right. They're not far left.
Right.
They're
They're
actually
well balanced.
well balanced, right? They have empathy. They understand sympathy.
Hmm.
They have, they understand what the difference between wisdom and knowledge. I mean, point is I threw it all at them. You
That's
know,
good, but that's what you have to do. You can't baby them and coddle them and act like they're little, sugar
that's right.
plum fairies.
So
Like they don't need to be
I
acting
never,
like boys either. But you
yeah,
be your feminine self
yeah,
and be strong in what
yeah.
you are.
I would
So
always teach
yeah.
my daughters that, that the power that they would yield. I would tell my daughter, I said, look, you will not have the strength of a man, but you will be more powerful than any man could ever imagine. By the power that you yield over men as a women,
Yeah.
because men will rule and destroy. Men will create. I would tell my daughters, you could create a life. Men destroy lives with war and violence and all these things. So you, as a woman, as a young lady, have the power to stop that, to stop a man in his tracks from that happening. You yield so much
Yeah.
power. And so I would try to teach my daughters that you have so much more value than what the world tells you have. And that's kind of, and
Oh
I,
yeah, 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 for
and
sure.
that's kind of been how I've raised them. So now I have two other daughters who
You gotta
stepdaughters
do the
who
same thing.
yeah, and fortunately, by the grace of God, I mean, it's like I'm at a point where I'm like, there are things I wish I could have said to my other daughters that
Oh, you got another chance
I get
now.
another chance, and it was with
Yeah.
the great thing is Leona, my oldest daughters, as the family is now, it's dynamic, obviously, and they love their new stepdaughters, and I get to watch them interact.
Stepsisters.
Yeah. Oh, and the love is just instant, but they love each other. And the great thing about that is the amazing thing about it is I get to watch my daughters
Yeah.
teach their stepsisters what I taught them.
That's
And
cute because you don't
yeah,
have to wait now
yeah,
until
yeah.
they have kids and for them to
Yes,
teach their
yes.
own kids. You can
Yeah.
see it in the middle, like in the
Yeah.
interim.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I get to enjoy it with my wife and it's just I love my life.
Yeah, dynamics are changing, but
I
it's nice when it
absolutely
works
love my life.
in your favor.
I don't have regrets. I would say I have disappointments. No regrets, but
I have
disappointments.
regrets, but
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I had a
Yeah.
friend. It was my best friend's older brother. He passed away a few years ago, but he used to always say, "No regrets, live life with no regrets." I'm like, dude, I have regrets, but I hear what you're saying. I like that mentality. So this is gonna be my last question.
All right.
What are
Yeah.
your Vulcan projects, Kryptonian?
Oh yeah, guys. To sum it up, guys, we have Property Flex, right? As you guys know, we have Property Flex, and we're trying to bring a project to Vulcan that actually is tied to real world assets. As you know, we have a great team assembled. We have In Our Legend, who is my brother from another mother. I love that man. And I can say that, confidently, securely as a man, as a heterosexual male.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? No, the man has so much integrity. He calls me on my shit. I could be on a ledge. He always, hey, what's up, man? He always brings me down. And it takes only a few men in my life have been able to do that. So I'm blessed to have him as a business partner. And then we had the absolute pleasure of being introduced or meeting. We're actually and I we're DJs, man. We're from the streets, man, in a sense, right? And then we had a guy named Milky. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right. He actually reached out to us. So NR and I are like, bro, us really? But every time I'm on the line with Milky, I learn from this guy. The guy, I call him Winston Churchill. One of my favorite prime ministers, I guess you would say, or leaders in the world is Winston Churchill. I call him Winston Churchill. He knows why. But not because he has an English accent, because the man I was gonna say Winston Milky actually he just we'll be backstage. We're talking about our Property Flex project. Yeah, we'll talk about meat and potatoes, but then he'll say some things that just resonate with me and my principles and the way I live my life. And
Yeah.
what amazes me about it, Leona, is that he's on the other side of the pond, and he and I are so similar in so many ways. Like I get what he's saying. We both want
Surprising. He seems like a very different guy from you.
Oh, he is. Yeah. He calls me on my he's the guy that he'll crack a joke and I'm like, damn, I can't believe he'll call me out so many times.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the proper version of a Prado in a sense where Prado would be like, what I mean is Prado is just rough,
Yeah.
blam.
Yeah.
But Milky does the same jab, but he does it with an English accent. And it's like,
This sounds so much
and
nicer.
I'm like, well, thank you for insulting me. I don't think I've ever felt that way before. I appreciate it. But no, but in all seriousness, Milky is a great guy. Extremely. I love that. I love that he loves crypto.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, Milky, we have NR who you guys know I respect tremendously, is my brother from another mother. Milky, who actually is, he has so much edge. He loves to teach.
Really?
Yes.
He seems like he'd be a cool teacher.
Oh, he is. And he doesn't, he says, I don't like to talk, but if you actually sit down and talk with the guy, you will walk away with, damn, I didn't know that. I mean, he's very, very wise. And then we have a new addition to the team, which is Richard, or a crypto legend, who I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and talk with him a lot, but he's a friend of NR's, and any friend of NR's is a friend of mine. But I will tell you this, but between Milky and Crypto Legend, we have a great team for Property Flex. We cannot wait to bring this utility, this real world utility, to the Vulcan blockchain and to many other blockchains. But we're hoping we get to launch on the Vulcan blockchain first. That's because when Milky, this whole thing was Milky's idea, and he thought, and it was conceptually constructed from the mechanisms of the Vulcan blockchain. It made sense to him, so he threw a light paper together. And of course we all met about it. It makes sense. So we're hoping we can bring this to the communities, obviously.
Well, I'm pretty interested in Property Flex.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Me too. Right. Obviously, I mean, I'm not a real estate guy, but I know that sounds like, what do you mean? Of course it's your project.
Yeah.
I'm very, but understandingly, I feel I'm so humbled by the fact that when I'm in the room with these guys, I'm like, remember, I say this, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You need to go to another room. Yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy in the room in that regard. And I'm not, and never really am in any other room, I'm in, but I learned so much when those guys start talking. I'm just like, I'm taking it in. I always feel, remember, if you're not adding value to someone's life, you're wasting their time. You're wasting their life energy. Every time I'm in a conversation with those guys, I leave edified. I leave like I feel like I learned something. So that's how I know I'm on the right team. And if I believe that so much, I believe we're going to bring so much value. And at the end of the day, we're going to bring real utility to blockchain, because it's going to be tied to real dirt. And
which is, people always need somewhere to live.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a great thing. Like, Dano's investment and to an extent, real estate.
Yeah, well,
he's changed the way he does it over the years, but it's always a good thing to be in. So I like that. Yeah. What else besides Property Flex? I know you guys have a bunch of stuff.
And the last, the one, we've got a couple of things, but the ones that we're actually that have meat and potatoes that we're ready to talk about now is of course, well, there's one more I'll talk about, but is of course Eco Token. So Eco Token, we're in talks with another blockchain that's currently in testnet, about to launch here, I think in the next 2 months. So we're in negotiations with these guys. And this one has to do with carbon credits and carbon credits and reducing your carbon footprint. If you're into the green energy, saving the planet, those types of things, definitely. which is all important. We're bringing more or less, basically, we're bringing the same sort of utility. We have a company that I'm a part of, who happens to be the guy that's actually the CEO of that company, is one of my best friends.
You mentioned him.
He's been wanting to get in crypto, and it's just such a time as this. It's all starting. The stars are starting to align, and so he wants to bring what he does real world, doing those things I just talked about, reducing carbon footprints, and bringing and offering carbon credits and all these things, and actually contributing to the issues of today, which is the green energy or I would say climate change, all at the end of the day, there's regulation coming, right? Okay. And so there's whenever there's regulation, there's opportunity, and it is what it is. I'm not, me, I'm all about government out of my pockets, but when they do get an opportunity to regulate, there's opportunity. My best friend here was able to capitalize on the opportunity. We're bringing Eco Token, so we're excited about that one. So I've got 2 projects ultimately that that are on the ready, as we say in Texas, lock and loaded, that we're getting ready to bring to the communities. And of course, then we've got Prism Chain. As you know, part of the TCL community, we're building an actual layer zero blockchain. Guys, that's still happening. Just be patient. I'm waiting on some more updates from our devs and TCL, because TCL is the lead on that. And so it's still happening. I know we haven't heard a lot about it, but we're not going to talk about it unless we got something to bring you. Right now we're just putting the pieces together. So just be patient for that. We'll be talking to that really soon. In fact, I was just talking to one of the lead devs this morning and yesterday actually, and yesterday morning. He not to give up too much, but I don't want to give up anything because he'll be pissed at me.
First.
Yeah, you heard it here first, but it's still happening. He's actually showing me, I wouldn't say showing me, he's confirming with me where we're at on this project on Prism Chain, which of course is relative. The TCL community, we also have Arbitrimium, ARM. ARM has nothing to do with Prism. We're not using ARM at all to fund Prism. Prism is a layer zero blockchain that's funded by the core, has nothing to do with any other token. So we're excited about that, right? So we got a lot of things happening in ours as well as obviously in the Prism and ARM community. So we're very busy. We're very as well as running our businesses. So
right. And families,
and families. So, but I'll say this lastly is to sum it up is crypto is the last frontier for me. I've had an IT company. I've been in IT for 20 plus years, just about plus years, 20, just about plus years. I'm not that old. But I would say all my years of being around people, building networks, supporting networks, and most importantly, building relationships and managing the relationships, sustaining the relationships with real people that have real lives and real families. All that training and experience and stuff that I've been going through all these years has prepared me for such a time as this. And I believe that's for the crypto space. And to me, this is the last frontier of Kryptonian. This is where I will make my last stand in my life, and it will be in the crypto space. I hope to change my lives, and leave a legacy not only for myself, but for those in my circle. So there it is.
All right. One more question. Are you going to be wearing a costume at any time when you're making your last stand?
Yeah, I'll be. If I had to wear a costume, geez,
you gotta get it made with the Julian.
Yeah, Julian. Yeah. By the way, you just doxed me, but hey, my name
said it online before. That's why.
Yeah, my name's Julian. My first name is Julian. Yeah, but you heard it here first. It's not Nick Reynolds. All right, it's not Nick Reynolds.
I was like, what are the N and R? What could they be? Yeah, that was bad. I
remember when NR told me his name, and I was like, because I'm from Houston, right? I was like, I knew exactly who he was. He's a famous baseball player. Like,
bro. Baseball. But I was like, that name was so old. I don't even know how it popped in, but I used to know about baseball years ago.
Yeah. I grew up. I love baseball. I absolutely love it. I grew up Astros and Astrodome, and it was,
So he was saying different things. I was like, I think I kind of remember the logo with an A with the ring or whatever.
I love baseball, and that's probably why he and I get along so well. But so if I had to wear a costume, it definitely wouldn't be an astronaut spacesuit. I tell you that.
Dude, we need a part two.
Part two. Part two, we're gonna ask the real questions about Kryptonian.
Yeah, because I definitely still have some questions here in my notebook. But Biz did say that he's waiting for info on the Eco project to share. So you give him that, and then he'll be able to put it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, absolutely. You're gonna be the first to know, Biz, especially when we're gonna do a live about it. So,
breaking news.
Yeah. What's this?
Brian Legend announcement. The refund process has started. To everyone who swaps Seifu tokens directly for Seifu Go, you will be refunded the exact amount of Seifu back to your originating wallet. That's what NR was saying. So,
Good to know. Yep. Good to know.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you, Biz.
Thanks, Biz. Thanks. Appreciate that, man.
Thank you, Kryptonian. Thanks for being here, being so honest.
Yeah, of course.
We'll have to do part two. I'm not sure when.
Oh, hey, whenever, I'm always available. Thanks for the invite. I really appreciate
definitely
you asking the questions and letting me rant. I most importantly, Leona, I really appreciate you letting me talk without any interruption because typically coming out of that household is
Okay.
anybody with the name Prado, last name Prado. No, I'm just joking. You know, I'm
I
joking.
didn't change my last name, so you're safe.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah. My wife actually, my wife changed her last name, obviously, to my last name, and she was like, I'm not gonna do that." I'm like, "Why?" I don't know. I don't really care, but
Yeah. Yeah, he
but
was
her name would have been that
fine
long.
years ago when I told him, but then when we actually got married, he was like, "What's going on? I thought this, that, and the other." I was like, "Listen, I could start writing it down if that's really what you want, but the truth
I'll write
is,
little hearts and stuff if you want, right?
no, I could put it anywhere I want. I could do it in insurance and all that. I just don't feel like getting a new social security card and getting a new license."
At
So I
the
told him, if he
at the
does
end
it, then I'm fine.
at the end of the day, it's all state, federal it's for the
Yeah,
courts. It's
yeah,
really all it's for.
yeah.
So they can
It's just an
follow.
AKA.
That's all it is. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with you. At the end of the day, marriage isn't a name. It's actually just, it's the, I don't know what I'm talking about. Nuclear
It's a
families, but
covenant
it's
between
a
the man and the
covenant. It's a
woman.
covenant. That's where it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I told him that. That's the only reason why I agreed to stay with him while we weren't married for so many years. I was like, because we're making an agreement before it's a paper. I'm like, yeah, I like the paper because of my culture, but that's not really what it is. The paper doesn't matter. I know people have been
Yeah.
married a lot of times, so
Well, it's all about culture, as you say. They're told you got to get the name change, you got to get the paper and all this stuff. But but I think what they should be taught first is it's a covenant first,
yeah,
and then everything else is just
it's
cornflakes.
secondary. Yeah,
It is.
cornflakes. I'm allergic to corn.
Really? Yeah, it's not. It doesn't really hold any value anyway. Remember, so
No, it does. They say that, but it does. I looked it up.
oh,
But
does
I
it? Yeah,
love frosted flakes. I'm so allergic, but I love them. So I will not even buy
yeah.
them because I'll eat a whole box the whole day and forget every other food
Nah.
exists. Just keep
My
eating them.
favorite cereal is Cookie Crisp.
Cookie
So
Crisps are good.
yeah,
Daniel likes Fruity Pebbles.
of course he did. Yeah, I like Cocoa Pebbles, right? But Fruity Pebbles. I mean,
He has those. He has those downstairs. And my
those
son
are
was like,
like, man, those are
"Who eats
freaking.
these?"
That's my secret stash. The last thing is, Cookie Crisp. I love chocolate chip cookies. Obviously, the cookie
Yeah,
skillet.
that's
I
all
mean,
I make.
obviously. So
Yeah.
you put cookies in a bowl with milk. I don't gotta tip nothing. It's already floating. You
Oh
know what I mean? I
gosh.
don't. It's over,
No,
bro.
no milk for me. I just do the
Yeah,
cookies. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah. I know
it's
milk
cool.
matter for you, but 100%.
All right, man. I will I know you always say you're gonna see people in the blockchain, but I'll see
Yeah.
you in the comments. All
Yeah,
right.
I will see you in the comments. Absolutely. Thanks, Fiona. I appreciate the time. It was
All
fun.
right. Have a good night. Thanks,
All right, you
guys.
too.
Thanks for watching.